Mock draft. Mock draft.
Draft.
Mock
Cock.
draft. Mock draft.
Cock.
Mock draft.
Cheese. Alcohol.
Beer flavored water.
Yeah, I got some Billy's.
Mock draft. Mock draft.
Mock draft.
It's time for a Loaded Box Podcast mock draft. DJ, how's that Miller Lite tasting?
Tastes like fucking ginger. I don't know.
It's my chaser.
Here's the deal. I just saw both DJ and Ryan drinking a Miller Lite. Is that taking over the podcast? Ryan, I thought you were drinking a Busch Light tonight.
You told me I had to have something to open.
I'm Millie.
I had to give something I wouldn't mind wasting, but I won't waste it. It's just my chaser with my Hop Slam now.
Fair enough. Mikey, what are you sipping on?
We got some Trulies, but we're gonna chase it with some tequila pretty soon.
Keeping with the brand, Mikey always brings us literally a bottle of tequila when we do any live videos that include him. I just my hat's off to you. Literally, it's off. But yeah, we're gonna do a 2-round Dynasty rookie mock draft. But keeping up with Loaded Box fashion, we literally have to add a little bit of a twist. So I told the guys beforehand, before every single pick that we make, you need to take a drink of your beer or whatever you're drinking, Mikey, in this case, tequila. If you fail to and someone calls you out, you have to literally take a 5-second chug. That might get more aggressive as we go on here, but we will see. But with that, does anyone have anything else that they would like to share with the group before we kick this puppy off?
Yeah, you fucking suck at this.
Yeah, where's our t-shirts? You're the one who got a t-shirt on.
I'm the only one that has a t-shirt on. You guys all have clothes on. I just happen to have one that says Loaded Box on it.
Wow.
God, I'm so fucking good looking. It's ridiculous. I like when I just stare at myself the entire time we do these.
Sometimes when I look at DJ,
I stare at you the whole time too.
Yeah.
All right, that wins. Ryan, you have pick 101. You are on the clock. Let's hear what you're going to do with it.
First, drink.
You thought about it. Pull up.
How do you play?
And then we're going to go with Najee Harris out of Alabama as the number 1 pick.
Najee Harris. What's the reasoning here? What are you going with?
To be honest, I've been listening to other podcasts already, and they're saying there's no true 101 out there. But in all honesty, I think Najee Harris is the true 101. Compared to Travis Etienne, because a lot of people will say 1A, 1B. You can flip-flop whoever you want to have. I don't know that face GJ's making right now, but for basically what I saw from the way Etienne played against Ohio State and what Harris did against Ohio State, definitely an A-B comparison right there. So I'd be willing to take him right then and there, easily, no problem. And he should be the first running back off the board either way.
DJ, why are you shaking your head? Why were you looking at him funny?
No point. We'll get to it.
Okay, well.
I got the 3rd pick.
I guess, see, what I wanted to say about Najee Harris is going to end up being said whenever ETN comes off the board. So I will wait as well. So I guess let's just go over to pick 102, and that is Mikey.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick with the Trulies for most of the night, but since it's the first pick, we got to bring it in a little bit.
All right, bottle up.
It's really good. Really, really good. I don't know if you guys have had it yet. The tequila that The Rock makes, Terramana, really good.
Gives me the chills just watching you drink that.
Delicious.
No.
Anyway, so pick 2. Ryan, I'm glad that you took Najee Harris because I am on the other side of the spectrum. I think Travis Etienne is slightly better, and that too I'm taking at number 2. I like him better because of the PPR upside with him. He's a proven pass catcher. He seemingly runs pretty good routes out of the backfield. I mean, I'm always going to be the person that leans because I play pretty much in all either half PPR or PPR leagues. I don't know who the fuck plays in standard leagues anymore.
DJ.
That's weird, dude. That's so weird. I don't even know why they call it standard.
It's true scoring. Like your average players like Theo Riddick can score 20 points off of 10 catches for 20 yards.
To be fair, Mikey, that's not even the worst thing about DJ and me. We both play still in a touchdown only.
Yeah,
league.
but that's amazing.
We started doing
that sucks. That's so boring.
Oh, it's not boring. It's unbelievably exciting.
Well, you know what else is exciting? Watching ETN play. And that was a good segue. Thanks for setting me up.
Was.
But honestly, with these two, for me, I think it's going to come down After we have their landing spots in real life, I think my 101 could change because Harris and ETN are both extremely, extremely close. Like the video that Dylan and I recorded for next week on YouTube, we actually simulated a mock draft. Najee Harris ended up in Arizona and Travis Etienne ended up in Pittsburgh. If that's the case, I would take Najee Harris over him because that landing spot is just pristine. But before we know the landing spots in a nutshell, I'd take Etienne because I love his receiving upside.
So that's what I wanted to wait for, because you talk about like the receiving side of things. And Mikey, I know that you watch a lot of tape on these guys. You've been knee deep in it. It's been really good content and everything for us. I want you to go back and look a little bit more at Najee Harris if you get some free time, because I honestly think he might be even a better pass catcher. And that's why I'm with Ryan on this one. He is my 101, and I'm not even like thinking twice about it. Dude, I think he gets knocked as a pass catcher because of his body, literally because of how he looks out there.
Oh,
I start watching. He is unbelievable.
I don't think he's a bad pass catcher. I just don't think he's excellent at it. I think he is a good pass catcher, but I don't think he's the pass catcher that ETN is, or honestly, even that like Michael Carter or Kenneth Gainwell is. Like I would not put Najee Harris as a top 5 receiving back in this class, and that's the big difference for me. I mean, admittedly, I do want to go back and watch at least another round of film on, most of the prospects, but I can't really see me changing my opinion on that one.
Watch Harris catch the ball. He had 43 catches this season. I mean, Harris had 43 catches this season for 425 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, like I said,
so he's got the catching in the background.
It's just, I don't know. It doesn't.
He's also the bell cow back, where NTN kind of struggles as a bell cow back, because if the team's trailing, he doesn't really get the rushing totals at that point.
We'll see what happens, man. But before we get to spots, I'm sticking with ETN all the way.
My favorite thing here before DJ makes pick 103 is I just noticed that DJ and I went with our Twitter handles to label ourselves here. Mikey went straight up Mikey, and Ryan, sticking with the brand, went with Ryder Ryan. Unbelievable name right there.
I'm not going to give it up until I have to.
I wouldn't either.
Whatever. I won't even comment. Like all of you are dumb. Like, at least I put my name and my Twitter bio, so they have both. Pat only put Twitter bio. Like, I don't understand it.
My name's in my bio. It's fine.
Whatever.
You're up. Oh, and he's taking his drink. Look at how freaking on the ball this guy is. How many drinks did you have before this? You must not have had any. You're way too on the ball right now.
Yeah, this is my first drink.
Jesus. On a Friday?
See, I love this because I wanted to be in this position. I love that I landed at number 3 because obviously I think you guys know who I'm going to take, because you guys know I've been talking about him since fucking October. And all the knowledge I get is based off of – I'm usually ahead of you guys, right? Like I think when it comes to my studies – that's what we'll call it. My studies are ahead of you guys because I watch a ton of college football right away. So I start to see these players, get to know them early. And I've been on Javonte Williams' dick since October, September, whatever. Imagine like Najee Harris gets to play in the best offense behind the best offensive line in all of college football. So yes, he's a good running back behind the best offensive line in football. They have top like 2 or 3 linemen that are going the first round every freaking year. Javonte Williams is doing what he was doing with North Carolina in a passing offense. This guy, every time he touched the ball, it was a 5-yard carry. His vision was excellent. He never goes backwards. He's an excellent pass blocker. I honestly have yet to find a weakness with him, and he's a great pass catcher. So I'm actually head over heels with him. I honestly think people are going to be surprised at where he gets drafted, Javonte Williams. I do think he's going to get drafted higher than what you guys expect, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the top running back off the board.
What about Michael Carter there, though?
Yeah, Michael Carter's
AB back right there. You know what I mean?
I just liked Javonte more. I just liked what he did on the field. It always seemed like he was getting 5 yards. Like he would have nothing there, and he would somehow wiggle 5 yards. It was incredible, and he's a big guy, but he scoots for it. So I don't know. I was on him all year for some reason. I was always gambling on North Carolina, so it probably sways by thoughts on that. But I did watch a lot of other running backs. I did watch Najee Harris. I have to take into consideration that he does play for an offense that is just they have so many guys that can do so many things. Like like Tua looked better because everybody was wide open when he was there. Things like that. It's fact. Tim Tebow was great. I'm not trying to diss on Ben's guys, but Tim Tebow was great
All
because
of them.
okay, Jalen Hurts was great at Oklahoma because they scheme guys wide open. Same type of deal. Like you can look better when you have a million great players around you. Obviously, Alabama recruits amazing, but Javonte Williams he's that dude, man. He did this all at North Carolina. I think Ben might have froze. Oh, there he is.
No, I'm back, but it's looking kind of shady here over on this end. I told you beforehand, man. My internet got
What's those
upgraded
noises in
at
the
the same
background?
time. Someone's humping it.
Ryan, is that you?
What?
All those noises?
I think it was.
Yeah, it's my son's. He's still playing
Jesus
Fortnite.
Christ, that's loud.
Dude, can you turn it down a little bit?
I love that. Ryan is the oldest of all of us, and he doesn't know what a mute button is.
I know the mute is. I just didn't think it was going to be that loud. Like, for some reason, these speakers were louder than I thought.
Fair enough.
Oh my God.
I like your speakers. DJ, I am actually thoroughly impressed with your breakdown there. The fact that you brought up the O-line thing makes perfect sense. I like that you stick to your guns and took your guy. What threw me off the most, actually it didn't throw me off the most, but the thing that you said, which didn't surprise me at all, was I know that you're a man of analogies, and 85% of your analogies always involve the male member. Why? What is your obsession? Why can't you make an analogy that's other than a wiener?
What did I say? I don't even remember.
I've been on his dick since he was 18 years old.
I did not say that. Since
You did.
Well, like
Yeah,
I know
I
it says
did.
18 years old. I did not say since 18 years old. But like,
I said 18 so I wouldn't put him down to 17 or something and make you real weird.
well, what else are you supposed to say? I've been on him. Yeah, I've been on his dick. Yeah, that's what you say. It's a common expression.
He's got a Carolina down.
It's a Carolina thing.
No,
Yeah.
everybody says that.
Show your hat.
No, I like that pick though. I wasn't
I'm not a
surprised at all
Tar Heel
that you
football
took him here. So
Yeah. I am not a Tar Heel football fan. It's by coincidence. I actually am a Nebraska guy, but I just I gambled with them.
I want to have an entire podcast about what the fuck happened there and how you can end up cheering for two different teams.
Okay, Florida fan from Wisconsin.
But it's a college thing. So as you can see, I'm going to take my drink. Refreshing Busch Light.
Hey, how do you guys become such weird fans?
I don't know. Like I said, we need a whole podcast for that.
I have explanations. I'm a Packer fan, so that I have that going for me.
Oh, are
Next
you?
week from Loaded Box Podcast.
There you go. All right, so with the 104, I'm going Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU. Honestly, this pick, with 3 running backs coming off, it's literally Chase or Smith. And I can't go wrong with either. And I actually, if I'm going for complete upside, I totally want Smith. I had Smith, typed in. However, deleted it for the sheer fact that I think Chase is a little bit safer and provides damn near as much upside. The thing with Smith, obviously he's a small frame type of receiver, but man, he's so ridiculous after the catch. I think there's a stat out there that he had 500 more yards after the catch than the next best guy after the catch. Someone wants to look that up, go right ahead, but it's just amazing stat. But we didn't get to see what Jamar Chase was able to do last year because we saw him as a sophomore at LSU literally rewrite the record books when it comes to receiving. Granted, that offense was so next level. Everyone was doing good. But he was the guy even over Justin Jefferson. And Justin Jefferson came in and rewrote the record books as a rookie in the NFL. There's no reason to think that Chase won't have a really good rookie season and literally contribute from day one. I think the choice, if I'm on the board and I'm between Chase and Smith, I'm cool with either. Landing spot, though, is going to end up being the ultimate deciding factor. Just like how it was with Ryan's son playing Fortnite.
I muted him. I muted you, Ryan, for a second there.
But in my opinion, it's kind of like Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb last year. You could have either one. It was what's your preference? Do you like the landing spot in this scenario? I give a small advantage to Chase, and that's why I'm going with him at the 104.
I obviously I'm a big Chase guy. Love Jamar Chase. How does that just get louder every time? I love Jamar Chase. Bet on him. I felt like he was going to be a product of people just forgetting about him. But once you start watching video and get time, I mean, people are smart enough to realize, okay, this guy, we can't. I mean, he just sticks out on tape. He's just fucking ridiculous.
DJ, I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you. I don't see this ever happening, but let's just say you're at 103, and let's say that it goes Najee Harris, Javonte Williams at 2, and now you're between Etienne, Chase, and Smith at 3. Are you going with the running back there, or would you take Chase?
It's tough. Like, and realistically, I'd have to see where each person landed, so it's really difficult because so it's we're taking hypotheticals. It's all about landing spots. So with ETN, I think it depends on where he lands and where Jamar Chase lands and what the quarterback they end up with. Because Jamar Chase could, I mean, realistically, he's probably going to be drafted top 10. But you see wide receivers tend to fall. So if they get lucky and he ends up, I don't know where it could be, but it could be somebody who sneaks out a good quarterback at some point in this offseason, then I might take him. But I don't know. I love Jamar Chase. That's tough. I'm not as high on ETN right now. So I do have right now. I have Javonte as my RB2. But if he gets drafted somewhere, well, I'll have Javonte number 1. But Jamar Chase and ETN would be tight pick. I don't know.
I'm impressed that you were able to keep it together. Ryan went from a room where Fortnite was being played to a room where someone's running bathwater.
What is that? What is that? Like fuzzy noise, Ryan?
I don't hear any noise.
You don't hear that?
No.
That's weird.
I think the best thing is that he's sitting on the casting couch now.
Yeah. No matter where I go, I'll just go outside. I don't know.
Right,
no,
you have too many kids.
It's better when you talk, but when you go silent, it's like a deafening it
Really?
sounds like a bike running or something like.
Yeah, I don't hear anything. I just hear myself and you guys.
Oh, it's better now, which is perfect because you're on the board here with 105.
With 105, I mean, I was hoping Jamar Chase would fall to me because honestly, I could see him going as high as 101. All depending on what you need. Like if you need a wide receiver, he is the type of wide receiver you go after. So, like, if you're loaded at running back already, that'd be the 101 easily right there. But another 1A, 1B type player is the way I went was Devonta Smith. And the way exactly what you said, Ben. Small, but he's quick. And he was always thrown wide open and everything. You guys look at me like, is the water still running?
No, I think what happened here is you said your player's name without taking a drink. So I think you might owe us 5 drinks here.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. This whole thing's gone.
You got that Miller Lite, don't you?
See ya later. Look at that, though. See, I knew, like, if someone was going to get screwed, I knew it was Ryan right there because he literally had to go into a different, time zone in his house just to get out of the noise.
Yeah, I went back to 2006, so when I had no kids.
I love it. No, obviously, I made my peace there with Devontae Smith. I think it's a can't miss guy. God, if you're drafting at 105 and Smith falls to you, I think honestly, if you're on the clock and that happens, you're gonna you can't click draft fast enough. You can't.
Once you see Chase go off the board, you're taking Smith either way.
You're also gonna be in my opinion, you're gonna your phone's gonna be blowing up of people wanting to trade up for that pick.
Mm-hmm. I'd sell for a ransom because everyone's gonna want that guy. So it's easy. I'd rather trade down for it if someone's willing to give me a ransom for it.
Yeah, I think you could get a load for that pick. Would you guys take anyone else in that spot, or is that the biggest no-brainer we've had yet?
No, that seems like a no-brainer to me. I mean, to be honest, Javonte Williams, I do think he's going to work his way into a consensus top 5, top 6 pick. So I think how we've gone so far with the top 5, I'm not surprised by any bit of it whatsoever.
Right.
I mean, you can see him going anywhere between Miami and Detroit. That's how I kind of see him going.
Right.
In the actual NFL draft. So anywhere in that range, I think he's going to be gone.
I kind of see him ending up in Philly too, because I'm not buying the whole, they're going to go out and draft a quarterback in the first round. I can't imagine that. I mean, they're hurting for receivers so much. They're going to have to grab either Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase. I mean, they're going to be in the position. I think they have 6 overall. They're going to be in the position to get one of those two guys. And if they pass up on them, then the Eagles are an even bigger dumpster fire than we already thought they were.
Right.
They're also a really good trade candidate where they're at when they need somebody. I mean, their run defense is sus. I like the
everything about that team is sus, man.
Wait, we're talking about the Dolphins, right?
Oh, wow. Let it sit.
Did I miss what we were talking about?
Let it sit. Let it sit. Oh,
I thought I heard
wow.
him mention the Dolphins, but maybe I missed it.
DJ, that was a good joke. First time in 2021. I'm proud of you.
I don't know what's happening.
Mikey on the clock. I think you accidentally made a joke. It was good. Mikey on the clock with 106.
Yeah, so this one I'm kind of teetering between Jalen Waddle and Kyle Pitts. And I love both of them, but I think ultimately I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle, mainly for the fact – yeah, shut up.
That's what you did.
I really like Waddle, and I genuinely think he would be in the wide receiver one conversation had he actually played this year. I mean, if you look at the games where him and Smith were on the field, Waddle was actually better statistically in a majority of them.
Right.
He's supremely talented. Now, this is the receiver that I see ending up in Detroit. So I'm bracing myself for a really shitty landing spot. No offense, Ryan.
They need a receiver, so we need anything we can get.
Yeah, I mean, no, Waddle just looks really good. Throughout my film sessions and everything like that I've been doing, I've compared him kind of to what Brandon Cooks looked like when he first entered the league. Like the 2015 to 2018 era Brandon Cooks, I see a lot in Jalen Waddle. And in terms of fantasy, which is what we're talking about here, Brandon Cooks never finished outside of the top 15 receivers in PPR over that span of the 4 years. So, I mean, I don't necessarily see that happening if Waddle ends up in Detroit because dumpster fire for the first year. But you know what? We're playing Dynasty. We're doing the long run. Jalen Waddle is going to be a very safe option. And as far as I'm concerned, I think I could put him in the same tier as Smith and Chase.
I think you're really close with what you said there because what he got hurt in that game was it against like Tennessee, regardless of who it was against, literally on a kick return. But prior to then, you could make the argument, and no one would say that you're flat out wrong that he was the wide receiver one on that team. So
I'm madly confused when he played in the national championship game.
That's
for what reason?
That was so stupid. I was like, what? Like he could barely run right now, and he's still out there.
On the first route, he looked like someone had like literally like shot part of his leg off.
And he never came out. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was unreal. Mikey, before we go on to DJ's pick at 107, if you would like to pay your fine.
Finally. Man. See, domino effect.
Yeah, I really thought it would take a little while, but we've had 105 and 106, and Mikey went over the top there and even finished it. So we've got two finishers of their beer. So I'm pretty
warm.
Yeah, I'm excited with all the commitment to the game. But DJ, can we make it 3 in a row?
Don't hit the player.
You're on the clock with 107, and as he takes
that doesn't count. He needs to take a drink of a beer.
I just spilled it all over myself.
That's 2 sips now.
Yep.
So this one's a difficult spot for me because I look and I see Kyle Pitts on the board, but you guys know what I say about fucking tight ends, right? Fucking hate tight ends, right? That's the problem. So I see Kyle Pitts up there, obviously the top tight end, kind of a wide receiver type of guy. So he kind of doubles as that guy, Travis Kelce, type of guy. But I've never bought into that stuff. So I'm looking one receiver, and this is difficult for me, but I'm gonna go in this spot, and I'll tell you the reason why. But I am gonna go with Terrace Marshall.
Jesus Christ! Why you gotta take my guy?
Great pick.
The very first time we did this, I was like, I'm gonna throw him in at the end of the first round.
Yeah.
And now he's creeping up.
Now he's going.
Well, I just think he's got the size, he's got the speed, and he's a decent enough route runner. He can be a wide receiver one in this league. And the other thing I like about him, and this is just from a prediction standpoint, so I'm hoping he falls to this area. But if you look at like Justin Jefferson, he fell into a great spot. Obviously, the Vikings weren't good, but they have a good pass game. Kirk Cousins is a decent enough quarterback where he can get Justin Jefferson the ball. I feel as if Terrace Marshall is going to fall to a somebody that's like Josh Allen. No, it's like a Josh Allen or literally like an Aaron Rodgers or somebody somebody with a very well-established quarterback and be the beneficiary of that situation. Obviously, he's just the third guy. You think of the LSU team that won the national championship. You think of Justin Jefferson. You think of Jamar Chase. This guy is a monster too. So that offense is like something that will never be seen. Like those wide receivers is something we'll never see in college football again. Maybe the best offense in the fucking history of college football. Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's just ridiculous. Still don't understand how that offense became a real thing, but I'm just going off the prospect that he ends up in a really good offensive situation that he can, benefit from for 8 years or whatever.
So I have to ask, because I've done a handful of like NFL mock drafts and a lot of trying to predict where some of the more popular guys are going to end up. And one thing that I've seen happen pretty frequently in the mocks that I've been running is Terrace Marshall goes somewhere between, I think, like 22 and 27 overall or something like that. And I've seen him land in Baltimore a lot. How would that make you feel?
Then I would not draft him here.
See,
No.
I'm so on the other side. I seem to be the only person in the world that would actually really like this. I think that he would be fantastic wide receiver one there.
If you put Kyle Pitts there, then yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense. But yeah, no, I hate him.
Right. Mikey, and 2 words is what I was doing this for. Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Hollywood was ever going to be a legit wide receiver one where regardless of where he went, I think he's more of a 2 kind of guy. But he's the case in point. Like, that's the guy.
In the second year.
He's literally the guy
in
Baltimore that isn't the guy that in fantasy that you want starting every week.
Yeah,
Will he
but
pop off every once in a while? Sure.
He's not the type of
guy.
receiver that Lamar Jackson needs. He's not the type of receiver that's going to thrive with Lamar Jackson. I mean, Terrace Marshall, he's 6'3", big-bodied, physical receiver. He's going to be an excellent red zone threat in the NFL. And realistically, with the exception of Mark Andrews and I guess Des Bryant towards the end there, I mean, who was Lamar Jackson throwing to in the end zone? As far as I'm concerned, if Marshall went to the Baltimore Ravens, I think he'd be a shoo-in for somewhere between 8 and 10 touchdowns his rookie year. I think he could really show up something fierce, like really quickly in that offense.
But the NFL knows that the weakness of Lamar Jackson is throwing the football. So doesn't that scare you that they know he can't throw it? They force him to throw it, and you have to rely on that guy as
I just feel like they haven't built the offense around him like they should have.
They did the first year, and then they started to take that away.
But exactly. Like you look at the receivers. He looked really good when he had his big bodies. He had Mark Andrews and Hayden Hurst out there.
How is Hollywood not a guy who should fit a guy who can get out of the pocket and extend plays, things like that? Not the perfect pick.
Because Lamar Jackson isn't the type of guy that's going to accurately throw it down the field 50 or 60 yards to Hollywood.
Right.
And that's why
he did in the first season.
I don't want to steal this from you because it's your pick. I love this pick, by the way, but I had to ask because I saw it a lot happening in the mocks, and I know it's not really a popular opinion for him to go to Baltimore.
To be fair, I think a lot of Hollywood Brown stats 2 years ago came in week 1 against the Miami Dolphins, who were a train wreck, especially at that point in time. But you will see it once every 3-4 weeks. Like, he connects with Hollywood on like a 30-40 yarder, and it's one of his accurate passes over the course of a month, and it looks nice. But I just the whole idea of going to Baltimore, I get the idea of like taking a good receiver regardless of where they go. Look at A.J. Brown. People bumped him down because he went to Tennessee. The dude's a monster now. I get that. But there's something about that Baltimore offense that just like screams wide receiver, I'm going to go a different route, especially this early in the draft.
Well, you know what? If he goes to Baltimore, I will get one hell of a value pick in our draft.
You might. Yeah, absolutely. I think that puts me on the board with 108, so that means I should probably take a quick drink.
I don't even think we need to ask you who you're about to pick.
Yeah. All right. So
here, I'm even going to put
he's
it
available right now. He probably went to Florida, and we just talked about him a little bit before. So
bingo, bango, bongo. You see it on the scroll right there. Kyle Pitts fell to me at 108. So I've recently sort of come on a little bit to Rashad Bateman. But I look at Kyle Pitts and I look at a guy that if he can turn into that Travis Kelce, Darren Waller kind of guy, even if you're not in a league that rewards is like a tight end premium or anything, this is the kind of guy who has the potential of giving you that positional advantage every single week. And if you look at who's going to be elite at their position from this point on the draft on, Kyle Pitts is head and shoulders above everyone else that you can put into that conversation. The guy is a monster. And if you're looking at rookie tight ends, super hard to see the field, to make impactful stats. So maybe he has a little bit of a bump in the road in year one. Don't panic whatsoever. That's probably due to happen. But I even think Kyle Pitts is one of those guys that probably won't even have that big of a stumble, because he's such a matchup nightmare that regardless of where he goes, they're going to scheme ways to get him the ball. And DJ said it. The dude's literally a receiver. They'll throw him in the slot. They'll line him up outside. They'll line him up next to the tackle. Doesn't matter where he's going. The speed, the size, the catch radius, the just ability to find holes in the zone. Watch his tape. The dude is so next level that you're getting an elite player at 108. Like I said, I was between him and Rashad Bateman. I have to pull the trigger on Kyle Pitts here. DJ, what is wrong with you? You're trying to just the entire time.
It's just funny that you tweeted today, Mikey's tweet about picking a favorite player, but not necessarily a top ranked, and then you literally picked the top ranked tight end right after that. I'm like, you literally picked the top ranked tight end. You did the opposite of what he asked you to do. He picks Diami Brown and Terrace Marshall, and you come with fucking Kyle Pitts.
He said it not necessarily has to be, not it absolutely can be. I played by the rules.
But he said not necessarily your top ranked. So that he's saying right there, don't choose your top ranked guy.
He left the door open a little bit for me.
Yeah, I guess. And you just dropped Kyle Pitts in there. Yeah, I fucking love Najee Harris, dude. I think that would be my pick there.
No, I did leave it a little open to interpretation. So
tiny bit, but he literally picked it. It was pretty obvious what you were fishing for. You weren't looking for a top ranked guy at any of the positions.
Yeah, if I would have said, I really love Travis Etienne and Jamar Chase, but
exactly.
Terrace Marshall and Diami Brown are interchangeable with them anyway, right?
Exactly. That's and the example that you set made it pretty obvious what you're looking for.
Outside of DJ though, does anyone disagree with that pick at 108? That's not.
I can see.
No, it's an easy pick.
That's a great pick at 108.
And honestly, with my roster that I have right now in our Dynasty League, if I had the 6th, 7th, 8th pick, I'd probably take Kyle Pitts because my team desperately needs a tight end. Consistent threat.
Do you remember when you could have had Darren Waller, but you were just so cheap?
I gave up so much.
You were so cheap. And
I was willing to give up so much. Guess who has the 3rd pick and who doesn't and was in the playoffs?
Doesn't matter. Guess who has Darren?
It does matter. It does matter. I'll fucking if I want to take Kyle Pitts at number 3, I will.
You lost, so
I did. Yeah, I still won.
I love the back and forth here. Ryan, let's go to 109.
I'm not gonna forget this time.
You and DJ in unison with the same beer was very cute, by the way.
Thanks. Get out of here.
All right. Well, then since we're on the same side of the screen, I'll flip it backwards. But to be honest, 109, Ben, since you didn't take him and you talked about him, was Rashad Bateman. And to be honest, I like the way he plays. I mean, he's a perfect size. Was he 6'2", 210-pound guy? He profiles as a wide receiver 1, ready to come into the league. So he's in the next tier, I think, behind Waddle, Chase, and Smith right now. But I'd be glad to take him, and I could still see him going in the first round, even though being part of the Big Ten, they only really played 6 games. He had really 2 explosive games and then a couple mediocre games, but he was still good enough.
Well, and then he bounced,
to profile.
Right? He opted out, he opted back in, and then he opted back out.
Right. Yeah. So, but he was still able to get 6 games in.
Right.
But those 6 games he proved. I mean, I don't think he had anything less than 6 receptions.
Like you said, though, outside of Jamar Chase, he looks like the complete package. He does it all.
I'll never trust a wide receiver from Minnesota.
That scares me.
But he could be a good compliment, say Kansas City or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. But he's looked the part since day one, though. They brought him in, and he's looked different than most Minnesota receivers. I would say that.
Well, yeah, not many wide receivers wear the number 0, so what do you expect?
Zero's not even a number.
No.
We're going to put that on the poll after this episode is done. I don't know how I know.
Zero's not a number.
How did I switch
-1 a
screens?
number?
No.
Now I'm on Ben's side.
That was comedically perfect.
It's not a real number, I should say.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't mind the pick of Bateman at 109. I mean,
But what about Zero?
I think I'm much lower on him than a lot of people. The way that I've explained Bateman is he seems like he's a jack of all trades. Like there's nothing that he doesn't do well, but there on the same side, I don't think there's anything that he does exceptionally well. I think he's going to be a half decent. I think he's actually going to be a very decent receiver in the league, but there's just, I don't know. There's just something missing, like that special factor that makes me want to take him in the first round personally.
You think he's like a Corey Davis type frame then?
I mean, I wouldn't even put him in that conversation.
Yeah,
I just say I don't even have a comparison for it off the top of my head. It's just Rashad Bateman kind of seems like he feels like a player that's going to be really good for a real life NFL team, but I don't know. I don't know how much it's going to translate into fantasy.
I like the idea of bringing up Corey Davis though, because I loved Corey Davis coming out of college. I thought DJ's had a twitch. I was great.
Cold.
But I would put Corey Davis in like a different tier coming out of college than Rashad Bateman. I liked Corey Davis a lot more than I like Bateman. But seeing Davis, it took Davis 4 years.
Corey Davis was like the 101 in Dynasty the year that he entered.
Right.
But that's what I'm that's what I meant to say. It's like I'm comparing.
Right.
Do you see him being like the Corey Davis? You expect Corey Davis to be this wide receiver 1, and I see him as this wide receiver 1, but he's more profiled as a good wide receiver 2 on a team.
Yeah.
Where he need we need the AJ Brown on the team to help him out.
It's kind of like what Mikey said though. I think Mikey's statement answers that question perfectly. It's that he does a lot of things, but he's not elite at one thing.
Yeah. He'd be good for Green Bay even. They need a good solid number. They need a solid number 2 there. I could see him going there.
We need a slot guy, I think, more than anything.
Huh? Well, maybe we'll get to that part. Mikey, you're up on the clock here at 110.
All right. Well, I had to put my hat on because I felt left out.
You look
wearing it real stupid though, because I want to. So there's a couple of options. Hi, Ryan's family.
Hi, Ryan's family.
I muted. There he goes.
There's a couple options here. I feel like the end of the first round, I really like Michael Carter and Kenneth Gainwell, and I feel like I have one more first round pick. I can't guarantee that both or even one of these guys is going to be there with my first pick in the second round. Personally, on paper, I like Kenny Gainwell a little bit more, but I think he's going to be very landing spot dependent. So I'm going to take Michael Carter because I would say that, Harris, Etienne, and Javonte Williams, they're my top 3 running backs of this class, where Kenneth Gainwell and Michael Carter, it's kind of like my 4A and my 4B. I think they're both complete running backs, but Michael Carter, he's got a safer size. He's not going to be nearly as landing spot dependent in the NFL. I think he can come in and make a legitimate difference on a roster from day one, where Kenneth Gainwell, if he goes into, a certain situation, he could be limited to just a third down role to start his career. So I'm going to go with Michael Carter, especially since this is the first round. DJ, you guys kind of mentioned him when we were talking about Javonte Williams, but Michael Carter, getting him 10th overall, I'll take it. He's a good running back. He's not great, but for a back end first round pick, I think this is actually pretty damn good.
Before anyone comments on that, Mikey, at this point, I literally think you're just looking for an excuse to take a pull from that tequila bottle.
Oh man, I have to. It's
two in a row. You forgot to drink before your pick. We have one rule going into this. I mean, we don't.
Oh my god!
Your family can no, it's you can do whatever you want. You're looking for an excuse to just pull that bottle out.
I don't think the bottle's gonna make it to the end of the draft.
It usually doesn't.
No, it might not. I mean, we did get Italian before this, so I got a belly full of pasta, so I'm ready to drink.
You're carved out.
Carved out, buddy. But yeah,
Carbo loaded. Go for a run.
Go for a run, yeah.
exactly.
Mikey, actually, right before we started this, I was watching a little bit more. Michael Carter. The dude is. I don't want to say he's Austin Eckler, but he has that type of quality where even if he's not like getting force fed like carries, he is going to make a difference as a pass catcher, and that's what I'm looking for in fantasy right now. So at 110, I'm like, God, is it a little too early with a certain with Gainwell, with Moore, with Trevor Lawrence on the board? But honestly, this could be a sneaky, really good pick at 10.
I like him at 10, to be honest with you, because I don't know if you guys watched the Senior Bowl at all, but he was one that stood out more than anyone else. I mean, he was going 5-6 yards to carry. I mean, he was pushing that line forward every play he could. So he was an automatic standout on that one. That's why it's hard between him and Williams in my mind, because they were almost like a 1A, 1B. Where a lot of people say Williams was the top back there, but I still like Carter just as much. So it's hard to pick between those two. It's all going to be as we keep saying, it's landing spot.
Right.
If Williams lands up as a backup somewhere and Carter ends up at a spot where he could be a starter, then we're going to flip flop.
Yeah, and Javonte Williams, I do say his film is more spectacular than Michael Carter. I mean, Javonte Williams, he makes bigger plays. There's just something about him where if you're watching the two and you don't know who either one of them are, you're going to gravitate towards Javonte Williams because he just looks that good. And I think that's what's going to make Michael Carter such a value pick, because if anyone decides to watch a North Carolina game or study up on the North Carolina running back, Michael Carter is going to get lost. And I think he already has, and I think he'll continue to stay lost. And I do expect him, even after the NFL draft, I do expect him to fall towards the end of the first, if not even the early second in a lot of drafts.
Here's a question. If they've got two running backs that we're taking in the top 10 picks, they've got a wide receiver that you love more than literally anyone. They've got, is it Sam Howell?
Yeah.
At quarterback, and people are thinking when his turn is up for the draft, he's going to be a first-round guy. Mm-hmm. Why was North Carolina not awesome?
Their defense is trash. They could score at any moment, but their defense is just really bad. Gotcha. They just can't stop anybody. And then they have little lulls at offense, but for the most part, they just were explosive. But it was all about they'd get outscored. Their defense was trash.
Yeah,
especially their secondary.
We were getting fool's gold for what it was. But DJ, the best thing ever is you always get up before it's your pick. You get up and get a beer. So
I know, but I was in between deciding okay, do I get a beer? I'm running out. Is he going to keep talking? I don't know.
I like the little run that you did over there.
Yeah, that's sexy. Did you see my ass?
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Nice. Okay, am I up?
You are up. 111,
right.
You're up. Oh, there's this drink.
So this was a tough one for me because I had to think about who would be in this position as far as what type of team they'd have. They were in the championship game more than likely. So you're thinking they've got some solid running backs, they got some solid receivers, but who knows who they got at quarterback here. Maybe you have an Aaron Rodgers type at quarterback in this situation, then a couple of guys that are nothing, right? So you want to look for that. You want to add that long-term quarterback, not have to think about it for a long time. I don't think I can let Trevor Lawrence drop any further than this. Obviously, he's one of the he's probably the most guaranteed prospect to be a good quarterback since. I think he's the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck that we've seen. Everybody's been touting him since his freshman year.
Right.
Not only can he throw the ball ridiculously well, but this motherfucker runs the ball. He ran read option at Clemson all the time. So you're getting this running upside from him that they're gonna do and take advantage of. Even the Giants did a couple times with obviously Daniel Jones with that sneaky speed, but a way better quarterback, much better passer than a Daniel Jones who can run the ball. So you have the running upside with a quarterback who's just extremely good at being that position. So you set yourself up. You've got a bunch of guys at running back. You've got a bunch of guys at wide receiver if you're drafting this spot. And you don't ever have to think about drafting a quarterback for a long-ass time. Now you're just hammering running backs and wide receivers. So let's go ahead and take Trevor Lawrence at this spot.
DJ, obviously you took him, so you have belief in him. My question, this is fantastic. We're getting a tour through Ryan's house.
I'll mute him for a second while he's moving.
Through Ryan's hotel of a house.
It looks like he's in some kind of like an apartment building. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It does. I have a lot of questions, actually. I have one for Ryan and I have two for Mikey, but I'm going to get to Mikey's other one later. So my question
I want to respond to that comment we just got and say yes.
I got to look at it yet. Mikey, if Trevor Lawrence is still on the board at 111, and let's just say that I don't even want to put a name on a quarterback, but let's just say that you've got a little bit of draft capital. Are you on the horn trying to jump up to that spot? Because I sort of think that he's going to end up going earlier than that. And 111, like I think DJ got a pretty legit steal because everything he said, you legit are set most likely at that position for a decade plus. And he is a legit running option that like those fantasy points in the quarterback position are just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if he's there at 111, honestly, if he's there at 110, I'm probably reaching out and I'm making whatever offer I can because you're right. Even if it's not a super flex league, it's a one quarterback league, it is such a supreme advantage not to have to worry about your quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence being the super safe prospect that he is, I mean, you draft him this offseason, you will not have to have another quarterback on your team, hopefully for up to the next 10 plus years.
Right.
And it's just, you know, if it's a super flex league, it's a little different. I mean, obviously he's going to go 101. People are always going crazy about quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks are so forgotten in one quarterback leagues to where it's like when you finally need one, it's such a pain in the fucking balls. Like this is perfect. If he falls at the end of the first round, and he's not going to make it past the first round in like 99% of leagues out there. There's no way. There's way too much excitement around him. So I'm in my main dynasty league. I have Ryan Tannehill and Taysom Hill and Trace McSorley. I don't have a first-round pick, and I guarantee you, if Trevor Lawrence is still there at 110, 111, I'm doing whatever I need to do to get that pick.
He ain't going to be there for you.
I don't think
Hate to burst your bubble, but it sucks.
Before DJ took him there, I was like, Jesus, if he's there at 112, I mean, it's a slam dunk. I will type that thing in already. But, oh, man. Do you guys have anything else?
I actually thought about taking him as early as 109 there, but I was like, it's so hard. Like I can like if you're Mikey in Mikey's shoes and you have the 109, it's an easy pick to pick him right then and there. So like if you're in need of a quarterback, you're going to take him as early as 107. I could say, you know, because you're at once Kyle Pitts is off the board, you're going to go to the next best available, and that's the next best available is Trevor Lawrence.
Right. DJ, do you want me to take my pick here, or do you want me to ask Mikey the other question I have for him, or do you want to respond to the comment that we got?
I'm done moving if that's a question.
That's nice.
That's another.
Yeah,
let's
just show the question we got here. Any tips on how to start a new sports channel? Just fucking do it. Just do it. It's just not a big. Just fucking do it. That's it. That's all it comes down to. I was gonna say suck on my ding dong, but I don't think that'll get you anywhere.
See, once again, another wiener analogy for DJ.
But it's my ding dong.
It's always your ding dong. If I actually thought about this weirdly, like earlier today, I was like, you know what? If we could do this all over again from a loaded box, as Ryan is shushing someone after he said he was all good to go. No, it's whatever. The thing
I have 3 children.
I know. That's what I said. I'm like, dude, you're after wherever you go. You live in a hotel. It doesn't matter. What I would change or what I would do differently is like set up all of your accounts and do everything and try to build as much of an audience before you debut anything. Like interact with people. Like make sure people know who you are. Get a Twitter.
What are you fucking country now?
I've been drinking Busch Lights.
Who you are?
Who you are?
Make sure people know who you are.
Try to build a little bit. Try to build a little bit of an audience, and then when you jump onto the scene, have like a big plan, like that's 3 or 4 plus weeks out, so that you know what the hell you're getting into. When DJ and I first ever recorded a podcast, I had 2 iPhones, and I had DJ on speakerphone on one, and I had the other one going with a voice
And
memo.
I was on speakerphone on mine.
And we recorded that way. And once we were done, we had this thing logged on a phone, like this episode that at the time we thought was good, but we didn't even know what to do with it. When you first got our first episode, you had to ask for DJ's permission to listen to it via the Google Drive. Like, so have a plan. Don't just blow your load and think like, okay, I have to do this today. Take your time. There's a million freaking sports channels out there.
Oh, I wouldn't have done it any other way, because when we're making millions of dollars and we're talking about that, it's gonna be a great story, like Steve Jobs in his garage or whatever the fuck people say, right?
I was actually there when you guys like did your first podcast. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they sound like crap.
Yeah, we were trapped.
I think Ryan is in Steven Jobs' garage right now. This is fantastic.
Well, he's dead.
I think I'm up. I'm going to get to my question for Mikey in a second here. So I'm on the clock here. It's 1:12. Not going to lie, boys. I'm between two players. I'm between Kenneth Gainwell and I'm between Rondale Moore. With the last pick in the first round, let me take a drink quick. Oh, Jesus. I almost broke my own rule.
We're all watching it intently.
You got to finish it, though. It's the end of the round.
Oh, geez. New rule.
Makes a rule. I love it.
I'll finish it soon. Let's put it that way.
It's just a Busch Light. Come on.
Don't ever say just a Busch Light. You just say, Jesus, man, you're one of those fortunate guys that got a Busch Light. I am going to go with Kenneth Gainwell, and I know that he's got a fairly limited resume, but so does Rondale Moore, because he had a lot of injuries, and Kenneth Gainwell had the opt-out deal. But I think when you look at Rondale Moore, and I'll probably get into this with someone else's pick, you're looking at a guy who right now is like a glorified gadget player. When you look at Kenneth Gainwell, with his ability to run, with his ability to catch, you're getting more so of like a complete package and a guy that feels a little bit more can't miss. I know at this point you don't need a guy that is absolute can't miss, but Kenneth Gainwell kind of feels like a guy that if he'd have played this year and put out some really good tape, we probably would have been talking about him mid-first round, like a little bit towards the end of the first round. I don't mind taking him at all in this pick right here. Looking up some numbers right here. As a sophomore, totaled over 2,000 yards and 16 touchdowns. That's when Antonio Gibson played with him. This guy seems like the real deal. I love his ability as a pass catcher. Yeah, I'm really stuck between him and Moore, but the more I think about it, pun intended, I'm going with Gainwell.
I like the pick. I like the pick a lot. I was saying that I was teetering between him and Michael Carter when I went 110. It was insanely close. And like I said, the only separating factor was that I feel like Gainwell could be a little landing spot dependent. He's a smaller back. He could get lost in a backfield early on if there is like a power back or an established, first down kind of guy over there. But I mean, he's great out of the backfield, and don't get me wrong, he is a phenomenal runner in itself. It's just that he is undersized for what you'd like to see in the position. I think he's like 180 or 185. Like he doesn't weigh very much at all. But then again, his measurements haven't come in over a year because he opted out of the 2020 season. So, I mean, if Kenny Gainwell shows up to the draft and he's weighing closer to 200 pounds or even over 200 pounds, I mean, this guy's going to turn some heads.
Could you see where people are going to start looking at Memphis as a school in general and say all right, I'm going to go Kenneth Gainwell because that's where Antonio Gibson came from. That's where Darrell Henderson came from. And look what kind of running backs they are. Yeah, Darrell Henderson didn't pan out to be what the running back we thought he was going to be so far. But Antonio Gibson, who had all of 2 carries in college and more catches than anything else, is actually panning out right now.
Well, so, I think the craziest thing in all of it is that Gibson had I think between his rushes and his receiving or receptions, I think he had 30 touches total or something. Not even. And Kenneth Gainwell absorbed everything. And unless Memphis's coaching staff is the absolute worst fucking team for scouting talent, I mean, Antonio Gibson came in with frankly a piss poor NFL team, and he looked pretty damn good as a rookie. if Kenny Gainwell can make Antonio Gibson ride the pine all year, you got to think that at the very least, he's just as good as Antonio Gibson is.
And Ryan, to your point, even if it's not NFL teams that are not even falling for that, but for going for that strategy, I think us as fantasy, like it gives you like a sense of confidence, like, oh, this guy did it and he went to that school.
Exactly.
This next guy can do it. Like it's kind of like laying the framework. It's like the whole idea of like Drew Brees and Russell Wilson being like the undersized quarterbacks. It's like, oh, why can't this next guy do it? It's one of those kind of deals. Ryan, you're on the board here. 201. We're starting a new round. Should we do a second round social here to get it kicked off?
Yeah, I got another beer. I'm ready to go.
And social, I like it.
Cheers.
Oh, I'm about to sleep here.
Yeah, you have to be quiet now.
DJ, you're a Friday night club primo kind of guy. What's happening to you?
I had no interest in talking about Kenneth Gainwell at all, honestly.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
I just didn't have any interest in him. I didn't watch much or see much of him. Didn't watch much of him. I don't have any insight on Kenneth Gainwell, so I had nothing to say.
I don't even care who your next pick is. I'm going to blast it.
I didn't say it was bad.
Fair enough. Let's hear what Ryan's got to kick off the second round here.
Well, since you've been like kind of go back and forth with everything you say. You kind of say, well, I would have took this guy, but I'm going to go with this guy instead.
Cover my bases, baby.
Yeah. So you did what I was going to do. So I was like, well, you take Gainwell. I'm going to take Rondale Moore.
There you go.
So, and you already said a lot about Rondale Moore as he opted out. He didn't really show anything, but it's just so hard to like not take him because when he was on the field, he was standing out more than like anyone else on the field there.
Right.
But his biggest downfall and what I hate about him is his injury concern because every time he got the ball, he was always injured. He'd always go that extra yard. He'd always push it to go extra further and just get injured. And that's what it kind of irritates me about him. But he definitely has the upside to be a solid wide receiver too coming into the league already. I can see it already. But with his opt-out, it's kind of hard to like know exactly what he can do with Purdue.
So Mikey, you can probably respond to this, or both of you can. It doesn't matter. But so I see a lot of mock drafts. I see a lot of mock draft experts out there. They are projecting Rondale Moore. I see more mock drafts seeing Rondale Moore going to the Green Bay Packers than I've seen anything else in the end of that first round. If he ends up with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, how much do you move him up in that spot then?
I personally move him up a lot. I am far away from the consensus on Rondale Moore. I do think he is a glorified gadget player. However, landing in Green Bay with what they need and what Aaron Rodgers needs more specifically, it's almost exactly what Rondale Moore is. And I mean, that's probably the only situation where I bump Rondale Moore up into my top 5 to 7 range for wide receivers. But I mean, that's a dream spot in my opinion.
I mean, that's just all I see in mock drafts is him going there. So I had to be curious, like if he's going there, you guys, all of us, I think, shoot him up of like 4 to 5 to 6 spots just being in Green Bay in general.
Well, another place too. What about Kansas City also? Because to me, they still don't have that wide
receivers.
They don't have a wide receiver too, though. Like a true someone that can actually stand out as that wide receiver too. Yeah, they said Sammy Watkins, but he never played. He was always freaking injured. But could Rondale Moore be exactly the same thing as
defense.
What? You think so?
I feel like they have to add on defense, but at the same point, like I think Sammy Watkins is a free agent, and the general manager wasn't really like all out committing to him. And even if you commit to him, what are you going to have him for 4 games?
2 games at the beginning and then playoffs.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Guaranteed.
Week 1 fantasy waiver wire, then you'll never start him again.
I play Sammy Watkins and FanDuel in the first 2 weeks every year and then cut it off after that, and I get at least 1 or 2 touchdowns there.
Just cash in right
off
the bat. Nice. So that was pick 201. Rondale Moore means Mikey's on the clock with 202.
Yeah, so this one, I don't know if I'm just higher on him or what are we doing?
Wow.
Ooh,
I don't know if I'm just higher on him. I hope I'm not too high on him, but I'm actually going to go Tylan Wallace from Oklahoma State here. He is so good. I mean, I'm looking at my film notes on him right now, and I started it off with he doesn't jump, he floats. I have his routes are pretty. He's a great deep threat. He's got plenty of speed. My player comparison for him, I don't know if it's the perfect comparison or not, but he reminds me of a lot of Tyler Lockett. And as you guys know, Tyler Lockett is one of the most underrated receivers in the league today. I will say I'm definitely going to want to see Tylan Wallace's landing spot on draft day. Like, I don't know. My dream spot for him would probably be like the Chiefs or something like that, because it's something that they just don't have something different that they could use. But regardless, I think he's going to be pretty safe no matter where he is. I think his ceiling is going to be landing spot dependent, but I think he's going to have a pretty good floor. I wouldn't necessarily say that he is NFL ready right now. We've been spoiled over the last few years with these fucking receivers going off for 12, 13, 1,400 yards. That's not going to be Tylan Wallace, but give him 2 or 3 years, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people in this league.
Before we get into any breakdown, Jesus, Mikey, like I said, you're just crying out. It's like a desperation call here for more tequila.
You know what it is? I'm gonna take a sip of this because I'm fighting the tequila right now.
If you're just joining us right now, if you fail to take a drink before you make the player's name available as to who you are picking, you take a very long chug, at least 5 seconds. Most of the time, people have just been finishing their drinks. But yeah, Mikey is literally – have you hit any of them yet? I'm pretty sure maybe your first one. Other than that, you've just been like craving drinks.
Well, you know what the worst thing is? The very first one is the only one I've hit, and I took tequila to kick the draft off.
Right.
So this is the first time where I sipped on my drink instead of tequila. So sorry to disappoint everyone. But yeah, Tylan Wallace here. Do you guys think it's a reach going for him at 202?
I honestly love what you said about him. What did you say, that he flies?
He doesn't jump. He floats.
So I was watching also some film like a day or two ago about him, and I was doing the same thing. And I was like, what is going on with this guy? I didn't know if it was poor tackling or just his ability like after the catch. It's interesting because I personally feel like that offense in general sort of underachieved. Like they had him. I'm blanking on the quarterback's name. Chuba Hubbard. They have another running back behind
Spencer.
You're saying Spencer Rattler?
No,
that's Oklahoma.
It's the other Spencer. It's another Spencer.
Really?
For the second, we'll call him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just kind of like, why weren't, it's another same like North Carolina. It's like, why weren't they better? But I don't think it's a him problem. Obviously, playing receiver, you're sort of dependent on what's going to happen with your quarterback, with your offensive line, with your play calling.
Spencer Sanders. Fuck.
Good call. I would maybe say it's a touch high, but dude, if he's your guy, I don't mind the pick, honestly.
I mean, it's fine that we're kind of looking at all these guys like as we're coming to like the end of the first, beginning of the second. We keep saying Green Bay Packers, Kansas City, Green Bay Packers, Kansas City. It's like there's also Pittsburgh can use wide receivers because Juju's going to be leaving. And then Jaguars are also going to need a wide receiver. So could they take him again in the second round? You got to kind of look at that aspect of it also because
right.
I feel like we're looking at the teams who are like a wide receiver away from being champions, where we're instead of looking at the teams that are saying like, we're a wide receiver to build us into the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tylan Wallace is a fairly unique player in terms of what he can do on the football field. I was just saying that the Chiefs are my dream spot for him, and I do think that there is at least a little bit of a chance that he could end up with them. He's probably more of a day two guy. I don't know, mid to late second, early third, or something like that.
But if he goes day two, say he goes Jaguars, like does he also get boosted up again?
I mean, dude, if you give me Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to take whatever receiver.
Right, exactly.
Because it's going to be a pretty safe bet. But I don't know. There's just there's something that I can't explain that I really, really like about Tylan Wallace. There was just something when I was watching his film, I was just like, man, this guy he just looks good. Like I don't know how NFL ready he is, like I was saying, but like I think he's going to get there. Like I don't know. There's just something about him. I really wanted him. I wasn't 100% sure if I'd be able to get him at 206 or whenever the hell my next pick is. So I wanted him. I took him here.
So all right, look at this. Say this aspect. So you have Philadelphia at pick 6. So that gives them what, pick 38? And say they go wide receiver. Would that make you feel better too there with him?
I don't know.
So then you have Jalen Reagor, one of those top 2-3 wide receivers, and then
I don't know.
Also.
I feel like Philly is like the one landing spot for almost any position where I'm kind of going to cringe a little bit. Like, unless it's Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith mentioned early on, like, those guys are going to offset their landing spot. But it's just.
But say they do go number 6 to Philly. How do you feel about Wallace going there second round? Like, say they just go wide receiver hit.
I'd probably hate it, to be honest with you, just because they took Reagor last year.
I don't think they could do it, honestly. Like,
I don't know if
they go Reagor 1 and then Chase 1 this year and then Wallace 2.
And,
they're gutting their entire team.
Yeah,
I mean,
they just released Deshaun Watson today.
They're getting rid of their entire defense after this too.
Jesus Christ.
But at the same time, it seems like
don't
wide receiver you can find later.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about Jalen Hurts, if I'm going to be honest. He's like the
trash.
one guy. I didn't expect to have to research on him.
Right.
And I didn't last year because I did not think Carson Wentz was going to be out anytime soon. So that is something that I'm going to have to research more ahead of the NFL draft so that I can gauge on where I'm going to put the guys that end up in Philly. But first reaction, unless it's one of those top 2, top 3 elite receivers, if they go to the Eagles, I'm probably not touching them anywhere in the second round.
Right.
Because I mean, like we look at this draft now. Like, look how far we already made it through, and like these landing spots. Like I look at them, I'm like, man, what could really happen? Could we have a CEH all of a sudden go from second round, third round pick all the way to 101?
Right.
It's
ideal world.
Crazy.
That's what we're drafting off of, right? Ideal.
Crazy how that happened. We'll keep doing more of these as the offseason progresses. We'll get there. But DJ, you're on the clock. 203. What's your pick?
All right. Here's what I can say. At this point, I get to the second round, and I'm just drafting off of what I know. I don't want tape. I don't watch tape. I gamble, and I do. I gamble, and that's where I get my knowledge. And I pick up these guys early, and I'm just going off of what I've seen, what I'm impressed with, who I like, and honestly, probably biased towards who's won me more money. At this point, I'm looking at a guy who wasn't huge early on in the year and continued to get better and get more chances. And I'm going to go with.
Oh, damn you. I was so ready for it.
I'm gonna go with Trey Sermon here. All right. So he's splitting carries at the beginning of the year with Master Teague. He obviously didn't get much opportunity last year with J.K. Dobbins out there. But as the season went on, Justin Fields struggled with injury. Chris Olave was out. Chris Olave is going to be a guy that you guys are talking about, that we're talking about. I don't know what year he is, but he's going to be one of the.
He could have declared.
He was.
Maddie did.
He's going to be one of the top wide receivers drafted.
Absolutely. Coming
out next year. The guy's a freak. He's really fucking good. So they had to go and they had to rely on a running back, and Trey Sermon just took over. He was highly recruited. He came in, fucking took over. And I don't know what it was. I know Mikey was dissing him for a while. Suddenly, like after week 8 or something like that, Trey Sermon just running guys over. He was scoring touchdowns out of his ass and carrying this team to the point where he got them into the college football playoff and essentially got them into that championship game. Trey Sermon showed up, showed out, doesn't have a lot of miles on those legs. And if he can land at a good spot late where somebody's grabbing him as a running back in late second round or something like that, I love this guy's potential with not a lot of miles, man. He looked good when they let him tote that rock. Master Teague just became irrelevant.
It took him forever though to show up though, to be honest with you. Like
that's because Master Teague was the guy to them right away because he took over or he was the guy that was backing up J.K. Dobbins. So I just don't think that I don't know.
Yeah, but it took all the way it took one game and basically one game was his whole entire season. Compared to the rest of his whole yards, he had 271 rushing yards in one game, and his whole rest of the season prior before that was 235.
I mean, he came in when they needed him the most, and they had to rely on him.
he exploded most like where everyone knows him now, so everyone's seen what he looks like and what he can do because everyone's like, oh, Trey Sermon. But if you didn't watch Ohio State at all year long, you never saw him.
Right.
It was a true small sample size, but yeah, like what DJ said though, he literally propelled them in that game against Northwestern. Without him, I don't know that they would have even won that game.
No, they wouldn't have won.
I mean, Northwestern was inept on offense as well. But, man, it was a Trey Sermon breakout party. And I text Mikey, like, right after because I knew, like what you alluded to, DJ.
He played well in the game before the national championship, too, though. He played really well in that game.
In the semifinals, yes. And I knew Mikey was really low on him. And I'm like, because I think, Mikey, you were, like, out of town or something. I'm like, dude, you have to, like, watch what happened here. So what were you seeing, Mikey, prior to the breakout?
So before the breakout happened, I have my film notes up. I didn't really have much on him because I was just cringing at his film for 15 to 20 minutes, and then I gave up on him. I have vision needs work, pass pro is okay, doesn't seem shifty. Literally, can he break a tackle? # literally. And I have that he looks wildly average. And admittedly, I took a look at his 2 or 3 games where he really broke out towards the end of the year. And
white girl.
Hello. There we go.
For the podcast.
At the end of the year, I still wasn't wildly impressed with him. I'm not gonna lie. So I watched the Northwestern game where he had his big show up or whatever. So I have a missed tackle, got him 70 yards. Lacks end of run speed. Vision is better than I thought, but Northwestern had some really bad tackling. That offensive line played really well. I did admit that he's better than I thought, but at the end of the day, he's still nothing special for me. I won't be taking him this high in the second round. Maybe if he falls to like 209, 210, maybe I'd consider it, but I'm that low on Trey Sermon. I think he's that average of a runner. And my biggest thing with him is I have no clue what he's going to offer on third down in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing that made him so good was the fact that he broke every fucking tackle in the world when he started rolling. Like nobody could tackle him. Northwestern could not bring him to the ground at all. Like it was not.
Yeah, but I mean, rewatch
They're one of the best defenses in all college football.
I mean, yeah, but rewatch the game. The tackling was he's not going to face bad tackling like that in the NFL. I mean, it's really bad form on a lot of the attempted tackles.
I haven't looked at much of his game tape, but he did transfer from Oklahoma, and I don't know if I missed that because I had a thing to take care of upstairs. But did anyone ever see what he did in Oklahoma?
I didn't even see you leave.
You didn't see me leave?
No, I'm not even kidding.
You guys, I am 100% on. Okay, I'm gonna whatever happened there, Ryan. We'll maybe get to that. I'm pissed at DJ right now because as whoever I think it was Mikey was given the breakdown. DJ has been a part of 290 plus podcast episodes with me. I did the whole wave. Hey, I'm fucking talking next kind of guy, and he just stormed over the joke I wanted to make in typical DJ fashion. So. What I wanted to say, and this is going to just fall lame now because about 2 minutes ago, Ryan's wife made an appearance on the podcast. She even took one of his earbuds. She listened for about 5 seconds. And I was going to ask you, Ryan, has your wife been that tuned out literally since like the last time you tried to make a move in the bedroom? Like, I can't believe how fast she just zoned out of everything.
It's guy code, man. That's what she knows. She sees a bunch of guys, she just leaves.
And it would have been so much. It would have been comedically just so much.
I can get her. You want to
get?
I can get her back down if you want.
DJ just fucking crushed me out of the
Well, I had to build off of what was being talked about. This is a fucking mock draft.
If you want, I can have her take over the mock draft for me, and she just does the rest of it for me. You guys just talk about everything you want.
I don't really want to add white girls to this. Oh my god!
Does that mean I need to pick now?
I don't know who's up.
I'm up. Damn it!
Must be you.
Yeah, get us past this Trey Sermon pick, please.
Oh my god! Yeah, pig vomit.
The final shot.
You.
All right, I'm 204 here, and the one thing I didn't talk about when Mikey picked Wallace was the fact that this is the one guy that I think that I had over him that I'm glad that he fell to me. I'm taking, and I don't even know that I'm saying his name 100% right. DJ might be able to help me because his brother plays for the Packers. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I actually don't know.
Thanks for your insight.
Amon-Ra. Oh, that's what I thought, but I know it's St. Brown. I can give you that.
The one bad thing about him is like, all right, being a person, like we're all.
You are a person. That's a fact.
Thank you. Mikey, Ryan, Eastern time zone kind of guys. Myself, DJ, Central. We see a little bit of USC. DJ sees a lot of USC because he stays up late and he chases gambling losses.
Yeah.
But you just don't
Pac-12 after dark.
You don't get to see a lot of that unless you are DJ and you have a financial vested interest in that.
There's a lot of BYU this year.
Well, you got to do that. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll probably get to him a little bit later. What I like about St. Brown, okay, he's not the receiver that's going to blow you away like a Chase, like a Smith. That's not what he is. But if you think back like to when he was recruited, he was the man. He was the dude. Like he's sort of like unperformed, but he's played with a couple of different quarterbacks at USC. There's been some like stability issues just in that entire program. And he's been just a solid contributor, literally regardless of the entire situation. His hands are good. His route running is good. He's kind of like that Rashad Bateman mold where he does a little bit of everything. But man, he'll pop off every once in a while. I think he had a game earlier this year. No one knew it because it was like a COVID makeup type game where he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns in it. This guy could be a sneaky play here. And he was the one guy, Mikey, when you made your pick with Wallace, that I would say I would go St. Brown over him. So the fact that he fell to me at 204, it's a slam dunk for me. I'm putting him on the board.
I mean, is it kind of scary, though, because you look at it and you see awesome wide receiver, and then you just look at it and you see USC. Where USC hasn't really, I mean, well, past few years they have it with Michael Pittman and Juju Smith-Schuster, but outside of that, all like their top wide receivers have bombed. And that's like one thing I fear with Amon-Ra St. Brown is his potential bombing in the NFL, where it's not going to translate over in the NFL game for him.
I feel like you can't do that. I don't like doing that with like teams because you can do that with like a Cal or whatever, but then you have Aaron Rodgers and you can do that with a lot of teams. But I feel like you can't just one off somebody because of where they played.
What was DJ? Who was it? Is it Elliott? It's someone that we usually have on for like an NFL draft podcast. It's scout the player, not the jersey.
Yeah,
like that has stuck with me for a while because Ryan, honestly, I'm with you. Like I think of like God, who's been a good player?
All the quarterbacks at USC.
It just gives me a bad taste in my mouth. You know?
Does. It honestly does. I mean, look at like as a Gators fan, I'm just like, God, they have so many receivers that produce at the collegiate level. They get to the pros, they suck ass. And I'm just like, well, man, Percy Harvin, had it not been for, I mean, you could have just made weed legal. His concussion or his migraines would have been gone. The dude would have been a really good NFL wide receiver. But like, there's been a few guys after that have kind of debunked it, and it's just. So it is a fine line. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, especially at 204, it's like you can't really hold too much against them.
Fucking white Mikey.
White Mikey.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Mikey.
White Ben, white Ryan. Whiter Ryan.
Whiter Ryan.
Where are we?
I think Whiter Ryan is on the clock here with 205.
All right.
As he takes a drink of his beer like a pro.
See, I take a drink before everyone else's pick, but I never
or during everyone's pick.
Pretty soon I'm going to have to take a break and like mix up a rum and coke while you guys are talking. So,
oh wow!
Beer.
As long as you do that little run you do, I'm good.
I'll fucking do it.
I can't believe I didn't get called out about 10 minutes ago.
Show that tight end.
Yeah, I'll show you the fucking best number 1 tight end. Fuck Kyle Pitts.
Save us, Ryan.
All right, so with the 205, I'm going to transfer back into a quarterback position. I'm going to go with Justin Fields here. And this is one thing that you and I kind of talked about, Ben, where you're trying to understand what I mean when I say Konami code. Because I'm like, he's a Konami code not running back, but quarterback, because he can pass the ball, but he can also run the ball like a running back, like Lamar Jackson, but not like Lamar Jackson. But he can still pass the freaking ball.
It's sorry, you were killing me that day on the in the messages when I didn't realize what you were doing and you dropped that. I knew you were like, once you said the last line, I'm like, all right, this guy's fucking with me now. Like, I don't know what's happening, but that can't be something that something I'm missing.
Autocorrect kept coming in. It kept coming out like Konami. I'm like, no, Konami. And it kept going back to Konami. I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, but then you were dropping some lyrics on me or some shit. And I had no idea what you were saying there. And when you dropped the last lyric on me, I'm like, all right, what the fuck am I missing? Because I was laughing my ass off and I was in the middle of work.
Mikey knew it.
Yeah.
I still don't know what it means, but after you said well, there's a dual threat quarterback situation, I just kind of pieced it into my mind. So in my mind, I have an idea of what you're talking about, but honestly, I don't even know that I've caught on to what's going on here.
Right now, I don't know how I'm the one out of everyone that got the reference.
I still don't know
the youngest one here got it. And I'm like, how is Mikey getting it out of anyone here?
I don't know what that song was.
Epic? Fake No More, Epic? Oh my God.
What was the last line you said? Because you kept dropping lines from it. I didn't realize.
Pretty wild for that.
What was the last one you said? Do you remember the last lyric?
I'd have to look back at it.
Damn it. I was hoping you'd know it organically.
Oh, the last lyric that he said was, it's in your face, but you can't grab it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, all right, he's fucking killing me. That was a great way, but he's definitely dropping some kind of movie or show or music line on me, and I didn't realize it because you did something like that earlier. I'm like, all right, this has to be something, and I'm just getting fucked with at this point.
It just kicked in right then and there at that point. I was like, I got this.
It's in your
DJ.
Face. Oh God,
it's in your face, but you can't stand it.
Yeah, I got owned on that one. I couldn't even recover from it. Right, sorry, Ben.
I have never felt older. This is unbelievable to me.
But that's an old song too that Mikey knew, and I was actually quite surprised because it was before he was born.
Yeah,
I got a good taste, man.
What just happened? Where are we in this draft?
We're at
round 3.
206. Yeah, right. We're at the 206. Mikey is on the clock.
Oh shit. Okay.
Shit.
Shit.
So I'm going to do this because you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm going to do this.
That made up for it because honestly, I think you would have forgot anyways. But DJ literally said drink. Like, what an idiot.
No.
DJ
I have had it queued up since my last pick because I didn't want to
do a reminder.
I think DJ's checking on his dog.
Anyway, so 206. This is a guy I know I'm higher on than a lot of people, but I don't fucking care. I'm going to take Seth Williams out of Auburn. Big fucking dude. 6'3", 215. Plays like Kenny Golladay. Looks like Kenny Golladay. As far as I'm concerned, he's going to be the next Kenny Golladay in this league.
Sounds like Kenny Golladay.
He sounds like Kenny Golladay. Dude's a total bruiser.
Detroit.
He can fit well on so many different rosters. I mean, he's awesome. You know, I explained earlier when we were kind of touching base on Terrace Marshall that at least as a rookie, I can see him catching 8 to 10 touchdowns because he's going to be a good red zone presence. Seth Williams is also going to be a phenomenal red zone presence. He is, in my opinion, I think he could be a team's wide receiver 1 by his second or third season in the NFL. He is the perfect size. He has the perfect play style. He's just awesome. I don't know if you guys have done much research into Seth Williams. I know he's not one of the more sexy names in this draft, but I actually have a pretty raging hard on for Seth Williams.
I was admittedly a touch low on him. I looked at your rankings when you put him on the website. I'm like, okay, like if you're this high on this guy, I got to watch him a bit. And his body type throws off wide receiver 1. Like you're like, well, he's a big target. He's a little bit skinny, but he's a big target, good catch radius, pretty legit catcher of the ball. He's not going to blow you away with his speed or anything. But you watch a couple of the plays that he's made, and honestly, like of all the quarterbacks in college, I'm not the world's biggest Bo Nix fan. And he was making him look pretty legit. And I just keep always going back to that clip of that defensive back that was just talking, just jabbing in his ear. And Seth Williams just hushed. boom, took him off the line, scored on that play.
That was him, huh?
That was him. He just went at him and it was just like, dude, I am that guy. And at that point, I'm like, all right, like I kind of like this guy. He's humble, but at the same time, he's going to let you know that he's the guy. And that's what you need at receiver. Like you need to have a little alpha in you. So admittedly, I'm a little bit higher on him now, Mikey, because of like the insight that you've provided. So I have to say thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll drink.
Don't take him in the draft that we're doing together next time.
I'm gonna have to look more into this guy.
Yeah, no,
I've been educated.
He really is. I think he's really good. I kind of said the same thing about Tylan Wallace. Seth Williams, I don't necessarily think he's NFL ready. I do think he could come in and offer immediate red zone production for a team. Right. But I don't think he's going to take over a legitimate receiving role for someone probably until his second or third year. But again, I go back to this so often. We've been so spoiled with receivers over the last few years. I mean, 100%. We forget that it typically does take 2 to 3 seasons for these guys to actually start producing in the NFL. So
I've never forgotten that ever.
Well, DJ, thank God for you, man.
Yeah. You know, that's what I do. I tell the people the truth. I give them the answers, and they just refuse to take the answers. I give them Justin Jefferson and then tell them the wide receivers aren't going to be great. That's like I predict who's going to be good, but tell you most of them aren't going to be, and I nail it every fucking time. I don't know why you guys don't listen.
Every time. Never
every fucking time.
DJ.
Hey, can you apologize to me about Aaron Rodgers yet?
I literally don't know what you want me to apologize about, man.
You said he's not a top 10 fantasy quarterback anymore, blah, 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 blah.
You sure that wasn't Pat?
I literally don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, I'll research.
Well, you know what? I don't know, Ben, I don't know if you've done it yet, but I just provided my updated Dynasty rankings, not including rookies. I don't know if they're up on the website yet or not, but I can promise you Aaron Rodgers is not in my top 10 quarterbacks.
Oh shit.
But you didn't say that. That wasn't it. You said not a top 10 fantasy quarterback anymore in this season. Not
I don't
Dynasty.
know what you're talking about, DJ.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
I am telling you how it is.
All right. If you were going to draft next year and you ranked him just for this next year, where would Aaron Rodgers be ranked in your quarterbacks?
Aaron Rodgers.
Within the top 10. I never said he wasn't in the top 10.
Oh, you did? He's not. He wasn't a top 10 quarterback last year, according to you, though.
No, he was a top 10 quarterback last year. He was.
Yeah, but before the year started, you said.
But before the year started, I don't know what you're talking about. I said you should take him like number 3 or 4 overall.
Gotcha. Okay.
You two should get a room in Mikey's fucking hotel. I mean, or not Mikey's, but Ryan. God,
we're arguing.
I got plenty of space. Come on over.
Okay, Tua.
You're gonna hear one of his kids, but other than that,
at least you don't have to worry about those little fuckers anymore. Now that your wife's there.
I still have to deal with him after this draft.
Yeah, fuck him.
She wasn't interested in what we were talking about. So with that, 2:07, was it DJ on the clock?
Yeah, I can't take a big drink, so I have to take a sip now.
Oh, look at this guy, proactive.
All right. What did I say earlier?
Wait, DJ, before you keep going, I just want you to know I've taken bigger sips of straight tequila than you did of your rum and coke.
I know, but I can't have 5 minutes of silence, and I'm trying to fucking entertain people. I am the talent.
DJ, this is for you. Ready? Oh,
yeah. I'm not pouting. I want to entertain the people. That's what I do. That's what I'm here for. So I take a quick sip so I can go back to entertaining people. You don't have the entertainment factor. I am the talent. Do you know what it's like to be the talent?
You are the train that runs over the people that are trying to make it.
You're fucking right I am, because I'm the fucking talent.
All right, let's hear your pick that we're all gonna just kill you about because you just took Trey's sermon and we wanted to give you hell.
All right, what do we have on the board here? Hold on. We got like weird Darius Tony looking fucker, but I don't like Florida guys.
Pick my guy.
Can I take? All right. Again, what did I say earlier? I don't watch tape. I'm a gambler. I'm a degenerate gambler. I go with what I know, and what I know and what I saw is this motherfucker. And I know I sent some messages about it, but I fell in love with Elijah Moore. This motherfucker, he's not big. He's not fast, but goddamn it, is this guy a dog? And he was the one guy on this offense that that could move the ball. Like he was the only guy in this offense that helped them move the ball down the field, and they used him as a wide receiver 1. And I know I compared him to Steve Smith because he had that dog in him and he made plays, and he kind of remind me of him. And then he's got a little bit of Jarvis Landry, who is just strong. But this motherfucker's a dog. So I feel like this guy, you talk about PPR, this guy can be a PPR monster. He'll be a PPR monster for a long time. He's going to be a consistent guy. And I want a guy like that on my team. I don't think he's going to make a huge impact immediately, but I think he's a guy you see consistently getting, 7, 8, 9 catches on a weekly basis come week 4 or year 4, year 5, like that. And he's just always like a Golden Tate, even something like that. That's just kind of who he reminds me of there. So he's just a dog, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my boy Elijah.
Where do you see your dog ending up at?
God damn it, Ryan. I know you did that on purpose.
What happened?
Don't know what happened to me. DJ, please tell me you made that reference 5 times on purpose.
Why is it? I don't
where's your dog going to end up at?
That dog. Come on. Don't let me down. Don't tell me you stumbled into this comedic thing again.
This is the second time. I have no idea what we're talking about.
He's gonna spit that drink out right now.
Do you know what Elijah Moore is most famous for in his collegiate career?
He pissed on the fucking field.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
He did the fake.
He did the crawling and peed on
the touchdown.
But he stole that from DK Metcalf.
Regardless, you were making it a joke, and you were stumbling into it.
No, I didn't realize that. I guess I didn't even think about that.
I hate you and love you at the same time. Ryan, ask your question.
That's a song. Bittersweetie. That's a Kanye West song, right, Bradley? I want to be the death you.
So where would you see your dog end up at?
Where would I like to see my dog end up at?
Where do you think he's going to go? What roundish?
Cleveland Browns. Just because Jarvis Landry's there and he probably fits that type of mold in that situation.
Even with DPJ there?
Is he going to be there for much
longer? Will he be there, though? That's the thing, too.
No, not OBJ. DPJ. Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Oh, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
I like him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I don't have a preferred landing spot because when you have a guy like that, it doesn't really – they kind of fit any mold. They're a slot guy that you want to get the ball to, and you can't have a bad – there's not a bad place to have a slot guy. I just don't think – like there's places like Baltimore where big downfield Jamar Chases I feel like could be brought down because the quarterback sucks. But when you have a guy like this guy who I think can just get open and be a quick pass reception guy, I don't know if there's a bad place for him unless the quarterback is just terrible.
So say Minnesota.
Yeah,
they don't really have a true slot receiver there.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there's a bad place.
Wait, DJ, how pumped would you be if he is the Moore that ends up in Green Bay?
That's what I would love to happen, where we grab a linebacker or a cornerback in that first round and wait and grab Elijah Moore later because that guy he's relentless. And that's what I feel like you need in the NFL, a guy who doesn't give up, doesn't get injured. I mean, we talk about Hard Knocks, you watch Jarvis Landry, and he's like, I don't care if you're playing, right. If your hamstring, unless your hamstring rips off the bone, that's the type of player that Elijah is. And that's the kind of player you want on your team. And that would be a perfect fit for there. So if they didn't, I wouldn't be mad. I actually don't want them to take a wide receiver in the first round. I did last year. But after I saw the way this offense is schemed, the way the Packers offense is schemed, they can move the ball. But if they add a guy like that later, that would be amazing. Elijah Moore would be the perfect fit.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great fit there. And I couldn't tell if you were disagreeing with me when we talked about it a couple of days ago. But my best comparison for Elijah Moore would be like Emmanuel Sanders when he played for the Denver Broncos.
I just thought he's still too finesse for me. I just think this guy just wants to eat people.
I mean, either way, I think he's a great player. And I do really like the pick here, regardless of where he ends up, because he is going to go into that slot receiver role. And there are almost countless teams in the NFL that could use a legitimate slot
Patriots.
And I do think that could be him. I mean, he's a great playmaker. He is a surprisingly really good route runner. He's slippery as all hell. The only thing that you can knock him on is his size. I'm pretty sure he's like 5'9", 75 or something like that. He's a small dude. but he's slippery as hell. He's got a good attitude. He's got a great mindset, and he's just a playmaker.
Yeah.
He's got good hip dexterity too. Like to get your
fluidity.
Fluidity is good word as well. I'm just saying, like, fluidity is even better because if you get your hip up and let the urine go, fluidity wins. You're right.
Yeah.
DJ, like I said, love and hate you right now. This is unbelievable. Are you guys ready for my pick at 208?
I love you and hate you at the very same time.
Yeah.
You know the song, Ben? Bittersweet?
I know. I've known everything that you guys have talked about tonight.
No, you haven't, because you literally said you don't know anything that's happening. But I dropped a Kanye reference for you, and I thought you'd fucking have a boner.
Rough day for Kanye.
Yeah, he got divorced. Rip.
Oh no.
Rip Kanye.
Can't believe he's gonna pour a little out. Can't believe this guy's on the board. I'm gonna take a sip right now. Zach Wilson's still on the board at 208.
Oh,
so I don't even really care how deep you are at quarterback in your dynasty league. I honestly think that you're landing a big-armed quarterback that has potential to start maybe in year 1, but for sure in year 2. And right now, with the arm that this guy has, the arm talent that this guy has, he has, like what I talked about Kyle Pitts earlier, he's got that ability to be more elite at his position than anyone else that you're taking after this spot. So I'm going with Zach Wilson. Once again, I'm looking at some numbers here. What scares me, you're looking at his 2020 season. 3,600 yards, 33 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. But what happened before that? Only 23 touchdowns and 12 interceptions in only 18 games prior to that. So you're kind of thinking like, well, what clicked? Was he a late bloomer? Was the offense not schemed to fit him right? What ended up happening there? But if you watch him this year, Jesus, I know that it's lackluster competition, but he looked good going against it. And he's got ability as a rusher. He ran for 10 touchdowns this last year as well. The big question is obviously, how do you transition to the NFL? And if anyone would ever have PTSD about a BYU quarterback, it's this guy. I watched John Beck self-destruct in Miami. Loved this guy. I made him a Hall of Famer in Madden. Guess what didn't happen in real life? This guy's started for more than 1 year. But at 208, Zach Wilson still on the board. I'm 100% pulling the trigger here. 208, Zach Wilson.
Do you want me to comment on this?
Yes, DJ. You go first.
I watch more BYU than most people. It's just most people that aren't BYU fans, because I stayed up, I bet on this team every fucking week. And I tell you what, this Zach Wilson, I tell you what, Jaws, this Zach Wilson right here, he fucking has it. He is my QB2. He's ahead of Justin Fields, in my opinion. This motherfucker can run. He has the athleticism. I had somebody tweet me saying, it was Roddy White tweeting saying, he's not athletic, blah, blah, blah. He's not the type of guy we want in Atlanta. Have you watched, Roddy White, have you fucking watched him at all? This guy can run the ball. He's got a fucking cannon. He plays, I know people are super high on him because he's similar to Patrick Mahomes, but you just talked about it. He doesn't turn the ball over either.
Not last year anyways. Before that he did, though.
But you expect a guy like that to throw a lot of interceptions. He has confidence. He has swag. He wears a fucking headband. He wins me a lot of bets. I tell you what, you can't look at – I think a lot of people's not going to be the Coastal Carolina game. They scheduled that game 2 games, and I know you guys probably have no idea what I'm talking about because I'm a fucking crazy fucker.
I think we all do.
Do you? Do you know the Coastal Carolina game, Mikey?
I know you're a crazy fucker, that's for sure.
Yeah, they don't know the Coastal Carolina game. They had to play – so their game got canceled like 2 days or a few days before, and they wanted to find somebody to play, and then they had to go – and Coastal Carolina was undefeated, and they ended up scheduling a game against Coastal Carolina. They had to travel out there a day or two before, all the way out on a bus to Coastal Carolina, and they lost. And people are trying to, break down BYU, and they just drove 1,000 miles to the East Coast to play a football team on short notice. So I would throw that game out the window. Zach Wilson, he's legit. Again, I don't know, Mikey, if you've gotten to watch this guy. He's got a cannon. He's very accurate. He's very confident, and he's a guy on your team. There's these rumors that he wasn't a captain. There's pictures of him with the C on this fucking guy's chest as he's playing. So no, he's the real deal. He's a leader. He's a guy that can make every fucking throw, and he's got the confidence to do it. And when it's quarterback position, you need to have that. I love Zach Wilson. I think he ends up being the second drafted quarterback in the NFL draft this year.
I don't know if you mentioned it or not. I'm not going to lie, I zoned out a little bit because I've had a lot of tequila tonight.
Yeah, there you go.
But Zach Wilson's got some wheels too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great on the ground, and in terms of wanting a fantasy quarterback, he is a very healthy, better than healthy mix of both aspects of the game, passing and running. I mean, I don't think you like Josh Allen from what I remember correctly. But,
yeah, I've turned around on him, though.
But Zach Wilson could be a very Josh Allen-esque quarterback in the NFL within 2 or 3 years into his career.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that might be the best comparison, but he's way more accurate coming out of college. So, I was an anti-Josh Allen. After this year, I'm just like, all right, he's changed his game. He's become more accurate. He worked more accurate, and he worked on it. So, like, if a guy proves me wrong, I'll fucking admit it. I changed on Carson Wentz during the middle of the year, and I'm still chasing that 2017 year to try to think that he's good. So, yeah, no, I'll change. I'll admit if I'm wrong.
So is he almost like a poor man's Joe Burrow?
No, he's completely different. Joe Burrow doesn't have the arm strength that Zach Wilson has. Joe Burrow's more accurate, not the same arm strength, but much more precise. And Zach Wilson, he's just kind of a wild card. He'll let it swing. He's gonna rip it down the field. And I think Joe Burrow's gonna be a little more picky.
But Joe Burrow, before he came out, before last season, he was known as like a 5th round pick. Where you look at
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson right now, yeah, sorry. And you see him before then as like more of like a post-draft type of guy to where now he's looking at first-round type material.
Maybe, but I thought Zach Wilson definitely still had more. See, I did watch BYU the year before. I've watched Zach Wilson. I've heard of him. And he was still more hyped than what Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had nothing coming into the championship game. Nobody knew about him. And if he didn't play that season, if the season got canceled, because of coronavirus in 2019, obviously they didn't have that issue. But if it happened to them and the season got canceled, he would not have been drafted. Right. But Zach Wilson would have been, I believe. So I think if it was different situations, Zach Wilson still had more hype coming out of last year than Joe Burrow did before the year he broke out.
I think DJ agrees, so I'll leave it up to either Mikey or Ryan to answer this question. But do you agree with the sentiment that what I said earlier, like at this point, like Zach Wilson has like that elite trait, like that you're not going to get from anyone else? So like, is he the guaranteed pick here, or is he like, I could wait on him?
I think he is the guaranteed pick here. And it's funny that Justin Fields went 205 and Zach Wilson went 208, because in the league where I'm heavily dying for quarterback right now, I have the 205 and the 208, and I'm planning on taking either Fields or Wilson because I'm not going to be able to trade up for Lawrence. I know it. But admittedly, between the two, I lean Fields by the slimmest of margins, and that could change any given day. I can't talk shit on either one of them. I genuinely really like Justin Fields. I genuinely really like Zach Wilson. If I am in the position where I need my quarterback of the future at 208, this is the very last pick I'd expect to get either one of those guys. And if either Zach Wilson or Justin Fields is here at 208, I am going to make a move to trade up and grab my quarterback, because again, do these guys have the same potential job security as Trevor Lawrence? Definitely not. But they could. And I genuinely think that they are going to take the fantasy football world by storm within the first 2 to 3 years of their career.
Right.
So I'm just going to say one more comment because I just thought about it. But for some reason, I think it was Mikey, you talked about Tylan Wallace earlier, and it's just, you said you didn't know what it was that you loved about him, but there was something you loved about him. I feel that way with Justin Fields, but like opposite. There's something that he does that I just don't like about him. and I just don't trust him as a quarterback in the NFL. I love Zach Wilson, but there is something
the
about
Ohio
Justin.
State quarterback narrative.
I don't think that's it. And maybe it was the way he was playing when he was injured, and I have to take that out of my mind. But there's just
DJ. Is it weird that he plays better after like cortisone shots and shots that he doesn't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden he's lights out,
like Aaron Rodgers in that
the Bears
game where he's like, my knee.
Chicago game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something I just don't like about Justin Fields that's making me be really hesitant on him and doubt him coming into the NFL. And I don't know what it is.
That's fair.
I can relate to that. I feel kind of the same way. And like you said, I can't put it into words. It's just almost like a gut feeling kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Let's move forward here, Ryan. You're on the clock with.
Is it on me again? I remember where we're at now.
That might have been
hour 3.
We're in 14 overtimes right now. That might have been the longest pick that we dissected. But
I think it was a 45-minute pick right there.
Ryan, you are on the clock with 209.
He took a drink. I saw it.
That doesn't count yet.
I'm not doing that again.
We'll see.
But with 209, I went with Kadarius Toney out of Florida.
All right.
And you know more about him, Ben, than probably anyone will. But looking at him, he's another wide receiver who I see is actually starting to climb up draft boards, even though his first 3 years he didn't really pan out as the solid wide receiver. And then his 4th year this year is where he really like kicked into gear and became that solid wide receiver that was able to improve on his route running, improve on his catching abilities. He became the dominant one next to Kyle Pitts out there.
Yep.
Am I right?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. It was the first 3 years. It was get the ball into his hands maybe once, twice a game, and just let his skills take over. And it was awesome. Like I remember sitting on the couch that's in front of me watching a game 2 years ago with a buddy saying, watch when this guy gets the ball. I bet he like breaks this thing for like 20 yards after he's touched. It was against the Miami Hurricanes. It was like the week 0, which allegedly isn't a number according to DJ. We'll see how the poll plays out later.
Not a real number.
Dude housed it. Like he legit like broke all the tackles and just housed it. But that's all he was right away. And then this last year, you saw him kind of put it together. Like he was on the field a little bit more. Granted, the Gators play that type of offense where they kind of cycle through wide receivers. But
he was a 3-down receiver this year. Like he actually was on the field all 3 downs.
Exactly. But you could do everything with him. Like, yes, he is super gadgety, but at the same time, like he showed that like the questionable hands, he sort of put that to bed a little bit. The ability to perform after the catch was always there. To get up and get it, like he never showed that before. He did it his senior year. So we asked Ben Albright about this yesterday when we had him on the podcast, and we're like, you know what? Like, end of the day, at the next level, is he a gadget guy or can he become a complete receiver? And he was sort of in limbo as well. It was the whole idea of us like, can he live up to the receiver that you want him to be? You hope that he can, because Jesus, if he does, the guy's going to be off the chart.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So honestly, getting him here is great. Like if Zach Wilson would have already been off the board, I probably would have taken him in the pick before. But granted, like DJ would say, I'm probably biased on this pick, and I've talked to Mikey about this, like off podcast, just in text message, like, dude, you're ranking this guy way too low.
I agree.
He can
what
be
text messages?
Those damn hidden messages between me and Mikey. So I'm trying to limit my expectations, but at the same time, the guy is so dynamic after the catch. He is more so than not, he is an on-the-ground receiver, as I would call him. But, man, you get him in the right scheme. You let him grow. You let him kind of – I could rant about this guy forever, so I'm just going to shut up. And
he really grew this season. Like, from, like, last year to this year, he really, like, took that next step. Like,
how tall is he now?
Well done, DJ. I'll drink to that.
I'm almost done with my Captain and Coke. I don't want to rather have to make another drink.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, speaking as someone who is not a fan of Kadarius Toney, I think this is a fair spot to grab him. Tail end of the second round. I would say it's a pick or two too early for my likings. But I can't fault it here. I mean, since you texted me and I did start re-examining him and researching more on him, I did bump him up considerably. I had him as like my wide receiver 23 or 24 at some point.
You were hating.
But he's up to, I think, my 13 or 14 right now. I can't put him any farther past that. I mean, I do think he's more of a gadget player than anything, which is the same reason why I'm hating on Rondale Moore. But, you know, as we talked about with Rondale Moore, the perfect landing spot is there for everyone. God only knows what's going to happen with Kadarius Toney. Personally, I like Rondale Moore more than Kadarius Toney in a nutshell. But I think 209 is a pretty fair spot to take him.
It's interesting how that plays out, though, because like they are very similar when you look at their skill sets. However, like Tony's been doing it. Like Moore had all the injuries and the shortened season and everything. It's like they're kind of the same. And I understand that you're going off of Rondale Moore's freshman season where he just totally balled out and he did it earlier. No, I'm not going to say that they should be drafted around the same time. I just think it's almost unfair if we drop Tony that much far if you're high on Moore.
Yeah, I think that if you are someone who is high on Rondale Moore, I don't think you're allowed to be sour on Kadarius Toney.
That's what I'm saying. Perfect, yeah.
Which is, in my case, I am the opposite. I am a little sour on Moore, a little sour on Toney. But these two, they seem very similar. And it almost seems like your ranking should be mutually exclusive with these two.
There you go. Mikey, you're on the board with 210. What are you going to do? What you going to do with it?
So this guy, I would gladly take him at the end of the first round, but I knew that I wouldn't have to. So I didn't. I waited until 210, and I'm taking Diami Brown, receiver out of North Carolina. And I am fucking in love with this guy. I mean, everyone hates on him. Everyone thinks he's a one-trick pony. He's this vertical threat, and that's really it. And, dude, he's not. He is a great route runner. His tape is impressive. People will say that he has too many drops or whatever, but I think that is way overstated. It really isn't that bad. I don't know. This is probably overpraising the guy. I haven't met a single person that feels the same way as I do, but I was watching Diami Brown's tape, and I literally thought I was watching CD Lamb tape. Like, I am that high on Diami Brown. I don't think he's just a vertical threat. He is an all-around, just awesome receiver. He is. I know in terms of, because I follow a lot of like NFL mock draft analysts, whatever the hell you want to call them. This time, like a month and a half ago, Diami Brown was going in like the 6th or 7th round, sometimes even undrafted in a lot of mock drafts. I've seen him go as early as like early 3rd round recently in some mock drafts out there. Like, he's creeping up draft boards now that people are kind of remembering him, watching the tape on him, whatever. There's just I don't know. I will probably be higher than anyone else on Diami Brown, but he's fucking awesome. I'd be pumped to get him at the end of the 2nd round.
DJ, I feel like you probably have a little bit of insight into this cat.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of weird because I don't have a ton really, because my focus was Sam Howell and the fact that he extends plays and throws the ball downfield and gets a bunch of guys involved. And it was Javonte Williams just always taking my attention. Mikey hit it perfectly. Like, Javonte Williams, you comparing him and Michael Carter, you just kind of gravitated towards Javonte Williams, and that's kind of where my attention always was. So I never had a specific eye on Diami Brown, so I can't really speak to it much because Sam Howell was just so fucking good that he was finding wide receiver. I mean, he was extending plays so much that guys had plenty of time to get open. So I don't know how much analysis I have on him just from gambling.
Well, for Diami Brown, and I know that especially with a college like North Carolina, you obviously you never want to take stats for granted, but you don't want to put them on a pedestal either. But his sophomore and junior season, I'm looking at his stats right now. He had 106 receptions. He averaged 20 20 yards per reception in each of those seasons, 20 and 20.3. He had over 1,000 yards receiving each of those 2 years, and he combined for 20 touchdowns over the course of those 2 years. I mean, granted, I know the quarterback play has been spectacular in North Carolina, but Dyami Brown, he does do a lot more than people give him credit for. I posted a player profile on him to Reddit, and so many people were like, dude, what the hell are you seeing? This guy's literally just a vertical threat, and that's it. Watch his games. He is so much more than just a vertical threat. And I sincerely hope that the people in my leagues don't notice that about him so I can steal him at 210. I think he could be a complete package in the NFL by year 2.
Yeah, be careful, Mike. You got 2 of these guys in your league, so.
It's true.
Yeah, but DJ won't take anyone else's advice because he's always ahead of the curve. So I'm always
ahead of the curve.
Exactly, and he literally just said he doesn't know anything about Dyami Brown, so he's not on his draft board.
Not yet.
I will say before we move on to DJ's pick at 211 that Mikey, you are so high on him and you feel so confident in him that I will be honest, I haven't done like a deep dive into it yet because I'm waiting to be like ultra focused and I want to give all my attention to it for like a legit good amount of time and just see if I see more than what I've seen like on Twitter from people that think that he is just a vertical threat to see if he can be nice crack right there. Not even talking about the beer. I want to see if I can get as high on him as you are because you're kind of putting him on that pedestal. Yeah, like you basically have him with like Rashad Bateman at this point in time.
I do. I actually, as we're talking right now, Dyami Brown is, I'm pretty sure, my wide receiver 5 or wide receiver 6 in my Dynasty rankings. Finish the bottle? Who the hell says that? Oh, my God. Whoever you are, you know what? If you pay in my hospital bill, we'll do this. We'll do this.
We don't need to do it right now. So honestly, I meant to show that at the end of the episode, and I hit the wrong button. Pushlight.com. DJ, you're on the clock with 211. What are you going to do with it?
Son of a bitch.
All right, here's the thing. I hate this. I hate this pick. I don't like it, but I can't let this guy drop out of this round just because I think the landing spot he might get to could work out for me. I don't like it. I didn't like him at Oklahoma State this year. I didn't like how he played. I didn't like anything.
Oh, nice. Way to
I almost forgot. And I had just a sip left. I don't have anything. I didn't like anything about him. But if he lands in the perfect situation, I think this is kind of what I said about Nick Chubb, where if he lands with like a Browns, which he did, but if Chuba Hubbard ends up with the right team, his value goes up. It has to be a fullback, run first type of offense. So I picture the Pittsburgh Steelers, the San Francisco 49ers, somebody like that. That's where his value becomes higher. But if he ends up in a shotgun, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs type of offense, or I'm not off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but just any offense like that, I hate him. Where they don't take a snap under center, don't use a fullback. I do not like him. But I just can't let him go. I just can't let him drop out of this round. Played awesome in his junior year. Had a shit year this last year. Played like he literally played like shit. His backup running back, I think, ended up playing way better than him at the end of the year. I think he dropped like 400 yards rushing in one fucking game.
And then Chuba opted out.
Yeah, and he opted out, played out of his mind. And that, I think that's going to scare people. But if he ends up in the right situation, I'm hoping he does in this situation. If I'm grafting him at 211, I can't pass on him at this point.
Yeah. I was just thinking out loud here. Well, now I am.
No, you weren't before. Yeah.
I have the next pick with the last pick in this entire draft in the second round, and I was like, you know what? If he gets to me, you just kind of have to take him because there's another guy that I honestly think hurt himself by coming back to school.
Yep.
If he'd have just left last year, there's zero chance he'd have gotten drafted any lower than where he'll be drafted in 2021. And same thing with NFL draft and dynasty draft. Like it's a complete like, dude, why didn't you just come out kind of situation? Because his backup did look better than him, and it left him with the idea, DJ, you probably can speak on this better than anyone. The kid from Duke, is it Jalen Johnson?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The best. Yeah.
It's kind of that comparison. It's like he went almost into damage control, and the whole idea was like, well, let's get the fuck out of this situation before it gets any worse, and there's any more tape on me. Well, Chuba Hubbard could have done the same exact thing. However, he didn't. And now he's in a situation where, his draft stock is going to plummet. And you're looking at a guy who in Dynasty last year likely would have been a first rounder. You just took him in the damn near the last pick in the second round. And you took him because you felt obligated to.
Well, you know what the crazy thing is with Chuba Hubbard, and you guys can hear me, right? I think my camera's frozen, but
you're all frozen.
You're like a mime right now. You're not even moving your lips.
you know, I'm just doing my best fucking Jeff Dunham impersonation here. I mean, if you look back at last year's draft, Chuba Hubbard might have been like the RB3 or RB4 in a lot of leagues. Like. Mm-hmm. The guys that would have went ahead of him before we knew the landing spots, DeAndre Swift was talked about a lot, and Jonathan Taylor was talked about a lot. Yep. And all of the other guys, you could arguably put them behind Chuba Hubbard. I completely agree with DJ at 211. If I didn't like Diami Brown so much, I would have taken Chuba here because you're obligated to. There's no way that a guy who would have went top 5 in most drafts last year, there's no reason why he should be falling to 211. Fingers crossed that 2020 is just an off year because Chuba at 211 could be the literal steal of the draft.
I agree with Mike on that one because I was so in love with Chuba Hubbard last year. I was like, man, this guy's going to come out. He's going to be great. And then he opted back in, and I'm like, and usually sometimes when these running backs do that opt back in, could be for the better, but most likely it's usually for the worst.
Travis Etienne did the same thing.
Yeah, but it benefited him. But he already had a good team around him where Chuba didn't really have much around him.
Right.
So it brought him back down even further. So he went from easily like a day 1, day 2 pick to now he's somewhere in the day 3s at best now, looking at it.
Right.
So he hurt himself in the long run, I think.
I think he was better when everyone thought his name was Chuba Hubbard.
I like that way better. It just sounds better.
Right. Once everyone realized it was Chuba, I was like, I'm kind of just chill on this dude.
I still call him Chuba. I just wanted to do it to sound professional or whatever, but I don't give a fuck really. So I should have just went with Chuba.
You absolutely should have. I mean, Mikey's talking and he's not even moving his lips. So
his eyes look great in the Frozen picture, though.
Thank you.
It looks like a model picture.
We got those baby blues going on.
I love that you're
He's a character from Twilight.
And really, it's just me. Oh, no, Ben's not frozen anymore. Ben, you were frozen for a second. So there for a second, it was just me and Ryan that could.
Oh, wait. Did you say I'm not frozen anymore?
No, you're frozen.
No, you're still frozen.
God damn.
You're still 5 minutes ago.
At least you can still hear me. That's all right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, you guys want me to wrap this puppy up?
Wrap it up. I'm talking shit to somebody in the fucking
Yeah, we're
chat.
2 hours in.
All right. Let me get this one loaded up here because at the 212 pick, let me take a big
Jesus Christ. I was hoping he was going to miss that.
Finish it.
Never missed one. I'll finish
finish it.
We're done with this. That's not even going to be a problem.
Finish it now.
Finish him. I'm going to go with Amari Rodgers, wide receiver out of Clemson. Dude. All right. So I got some notes. Dude. I got some notes about Amari Rodgers here. And we're looking at literally another branch just stemming off the wide receiver tree that is Clemson right now. And you look at where these guys have gone recently, what they've done recently, and he's not T. Higgins. He's not going to be your end of the first, early second round pick, immediate impact kind of guy that T. Higgins was. But he is the kind of guy that's going to catch a lot of passes, and he's going to get – so my note says he catches quick passes and he gets upfield. So it limits what he's going to be literally as a fantasy wide receiver. He's not going to be a dynamic dude in half PPR, in full PPR. He's going to be okay. And I picture him more so. Ryan, just what happened there? It's like 11:30 at this guy's house, and he's just got things happening. I'm almost jealous. You take care of him.
He's got things.
How rambunctious is his wife? That's what
partying.
I want to know. Just partying. But where I'm going with Rodgers here is he catches a lot of quick passes. He works underneath. He catches screen passes, but he's not like the dancing type of guy. He gets the ball and he goes north. Like he just gets upfield. So half PPR, full PPR, like he's going to get you some points. He's not going to be the guy that you're going to rely on as an every week wide receiver. Like I don't want you to think that you're getting this stud by taking him. It's the last pick in the second round. You're getting a depth guy at the very best. And this is my opinion. Obviously, I can't project everything, but it's a nice depth piece. It's a guy like on a bye week in an injury situation, a couple years down the road. This is your kind of guy. Like it's an unglorified Jarvis Landry. Like that'd be my really weird comp here. Like he's not that good, but he's still a kind of guy that's going to hang around for a long time because he's just a solid wide receiver. So it's not a sexy pick. It's not a great way to end the second round of our final pick. Like I should have probably taken Trey Lance and made a splash pick, but I went with a freaking wide receiver that you can plug in 2 or 3 years down the line as a depth piece.
Yeah, how can you have a sexy pick at this point, right? You're going for guys that you like at this point.
That'd have been it. Like Trey Lance would have been the only pick.
That's true.
I love Trey Lance.
I think Amari Rodgers at the end of our mock draft here at 212, I think it's a great pick because, I mean, I don't know what his floor is. It's probably not very good. But his ceiling is, I could see him turning into a Robert Woods type of guy in the league where
Whoa. You think he's going to catch more passes over the middle than anybody in the NFL?
No, here's the thing. Robert Woods is one of those guys where he's kind of just catching these dink and dunk passes and just doing whatever the hell he can with them.
Don't talk about Robert Woods like that.
Mikey's totally throwing me off by his lips not moving.
Robert Woods catches more passes over the middle than anybody else in the NFL.
I'm actually just thinking out loud here. That's why I'm trying. But no, I mean I've compared him to a short and stocky version of Robert Woods, and I mean I see that a lot in Amari Rodgers, despite DJ yelling at me here. That's a ceiling play for Amari Rodgers, and at 212, I mean. 212, no one's drafting for floor. You're drafting for ceiling and potential.
See, I was drafting for floor there.
Higher floor? Like you have consistency, right? Out of that guy. That's what he was saying the entire time, but Mikey didn't listen.
Well, because he's fucking frozen, man. What I'm saying, like in the last pick in the second round, like I'm literally taking a depth wide receiver is what I was getting at. Trey Lance probably provides more upside. A wide receiver that can, or not a wide receiver, but a quarterback that, let's say he's drafted in the top 10, 12 picks. Like you're getting a guy that's obviously going to be called upon to be the quarterback, but has a lot of success as a running quarterback. So you're probably getting more upside if you take Trey Lance. But what you're betting on is the idea of him evolving into a starting quarterback because he's so raw right now versus a guy like, well, I'll pass on that for a guy that I can literally just have as a depth wide receiver, a guy I'm never going to count on that I'm just going to have on my team. And you know what you do in this situation when you've done 297 episodes of the same guy? You call on a guy who put his hand up. So go ahead, DJ.
I didn't put my hand up. I was tossing my wire. You know, it's crazy how we stress this. We stretched this fucking episode that could have been an hour into 2 hours. For an hour.
If you look at Mikey right now, like you look at him, he's like you give like your like what you tell about the player, then like he looks at you like that's it, that's all you have. Like he looks like you give like more like detail, like you're not giving enough detail right now.
This is a modeling picture.
No, that's not a modeling picture. That's like your dad telling you twice, "What did you do?"
No, I think it's like the pensive look. He's like. It's a pensive look. He's like at the model face with the blue eyes.
I think he can be both.
I think this is a pensive look.
Right?
I think he's giving us a pensive look with those.
I think he's like, you need to take. Did you take out the garbage?
I think it's both.
I like it. I want to screenshot this.
Because DJ, I think you're right, but at the same time, Ryan has a litter of kids. Like he would know what that looks.
Yeah, that's looking at my kids. I'm like, oh, you took out the garbage.
I'm taking a screenshot.
Mike, do you have anything to say to that? Like, can you even hear us?
Oh, I can hear you. I'm just enjoying it.
Every time you talk is like a blessing to me. I just feel like it's not going to work out at some point.
I just want you guys to think what you're going to think, because just know I'm thinking the exact same thing.
That's what I was hoping.
I just say I'm saving it to my desktop. This screenshot of just Mikey, and it's just
Beautiful.
pensive look.
I love it. One
I
thing
wish
I
we never knew
I
wallpaper.
can see that being our GIF now in our message board.
has to be absolutely. One thing I wanted to do before we do wrap this thing up is I wanted to do like a 1, 2, 3, and at the count of 3, I wanted each person to say who they think had the best draft. So with that, 1, 2, 3. Me. That didn't go how I expected. I thought you'd all say Ben and I would say me.
No chance. Okay. Oh, whoops. Cut that. Here, I've got something for you, your asses. Let's see if I can get this in here.
I would try to cut this short, but it's already 2 hours and 10 minutes. So do you guys have anything else you'd like to talk about?
I just sent you.
The only thing I have to say is that if you're listening to this, you are too low on Diami Brown.
Let's go around the room. That's Mikey's one-liner. Ryan, what's your one-liner?
Mikey's face just still scares me. I can't stop looking at it.
It's a good one-liner. DJ, what do you have?
I mean, if you're not taking Javonte Williams as the number 2 running back, I don't know what you're doing.
And what I've got, if you're not drinking Busch Light, I don't know what you're doing. So
I sent you guys Mikey's picture screenshot as well in the DMs.
I love it. Is that what we got? Are we wrapping it up?
I gotta go drink some more. I gotta mix a drink up. Let's fucking go.
Well, at this point, yeah, because it's damn near 11 o'clock where Ryan is. He's got kids to wake up.
It's quarter after 11, and
I've got like 4 more hours of drinking in Club Primo. So
Club Primo. Let's keep going. I'll go make myself a whiskey and Coke.
No, this
I'm
is
still
Club
not
Primo
good at figuring out this, like pointing at DJ. Like I am not pointing at him right now, but I'm figuring it out. Mikey, point. Come on, you asshole.
I'm doing my best.
Tell me who to point at, Ben. I'll nail it right now.
Why don't you go ahead and point at yourself? Damn it.
I'm good. Got Ryan? Boom. Ben. Mikey.
I wish you just somehow screwed that up.
I got a backwards brain.
That was good.
All right.
All right. Good work, boys.
How do we close this out? It's not a podcast.
It's not a podcast. I think we do it how we normally would, though. DJ, why don't you go ahead and send us out?
Nope. This is how it went last time, and I said no, so I won't do it.
Ryan.
Bye.
Ryan and Mikey, on the count of 3, I want you to just say something, and then I'll just end it. That's like my go-to today. I just do 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3.
Balls.